Welcome here, everyone, to yet another Raina's Kingdoms tournament. I'm very excited here in November, and we hopefully have a fantastic time ahead of us. 2 days of awesome games through a lot of amazing players as well, some and most of who you know in the community. And this time, Raina is joining on in. My name is Orbital. With me is the ever so lovely Lori Dory. She will be commentating with me through the opening group stages. Lori, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? I'm really excited for these games. Thank you for having me. Super exciting. We're going to have some really great gameplay, some really high elo players. So, very excited for today. What about you?
I'm excited mainly because I know high elo players and I know that they do not always play at a high elo level. That's what I'm very excited for. Lori, though, please go ahead and introduce yourself to those that may not be familiar to, because I know you had talked to Reina. You've been in games with Reina, I believe, played with her a few times. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, hi. My name is Lori Dory. You may also know me by my streamer handle and as well as my other socials at Minomao. I've been a streamer for about 2 years, but really trying to get more into the casting space. Really enjoy playing League. Definitely League and Valorant are my big two games. But I'm very excited to be here. Raina and I have played games together. We've streamed together, so you may have seen me on some of her streams. But very excited. This is going to be really fun.
There you go. Such a nice introduction, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of fun here on the desk because we have three amazing matches here today across 8 different teams, and we'll have a breakdown of the teams here for you right now. They're split into 2 different groups, just like in the previous September tournament. All teams will be playing against each other in a single round robin, and then once they are done with the group stage, all 8 teams will be fielded into a single elimination bracket, which we will see here today in the quarterfinals afterwards. That does mean that if you're watching the stream right now, you are in for a treat of a possible 5, max of 6 games across the entirety of this first day. And to me, that's pretty dang exciting.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking at some really great teams today. I think this first round we're going to be looking at team. I believe we're looking at Team Triton, right? Is that what we're talking about today?
Oh no, I swapped it up on you. I do apologize.
Got it. Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, I swapped it up on you. I think we're doing it is Team Robbie Bob going up against team team.
Evolutions.
Yeah, that was it. Ha! You
Yes.
know, hey,
Yes.
listen, you are more prepared than I am. Thank you very much for that one. Yes, it will be Team Robbie Bob going up a team against Team Evolutions, and that's where we're starting. We hopefully will cover a lot of the teams throughout, but as you said, a lot of great players. Team Cupid, Team Alorum's in there. Only 35, only Ford is a really funny name. Urk, Triton, and Alorum. All these players are hopefully giving us their best. But Lori, there's a little bit of a treat, and I know that you watch Worlds. You were very excited. You were telling me about this before, and it's awesome whenever we get to see Worlds, which we saw the full Fearless. But we have an added rule here in the Reina's Kingdoms tournament, which is no bans as well. And that, I think, opens up a very large bracket of silliness and obviously one tricks in there. Do you personally like this rule or do you not if you were playing in this tournament?
That's really interesting. I actually really like the fact that we're not doing bans because I don't know if anybody in the audience watched Worlds, but for Worlds when it was KT versus SKT, BDD's Yone got banned every single round, and so we weren't able to see some of the players really play the champions that they were best at. So hoping with this tournament, because there are no bans, we'll be able to see some of the more some of the more one tricks come out, which is going to be really exciting. Reina's got her Zed. I think she's playing support for the tournament, but support Zed could always be a thing. As long as you've got those hands, and then we know Triton's got his Garen, so it'll be fun to see if with no bans, who's going to stop them from picking their best champion. So it'll be fun and exciting to see when they decide to bring out their ultimate weapon champion. So that'll be great.
I like how you use it as ultimate weapons because it's such a real identification. We have a lot of players, obviously, like you said, Reina, but Kendi has an amazing Azir. There are so many players that have these very specific champions. And not only that, the recent patches have been making it very interesting for us as well. I know I talked to Arya recently, who I think is swapping into the jungle a little bit from what I heard, which is terrifying because he told me that his champions got buffed, which are like Riven, Jace, and a few others. And I sat there, I was like, I swear to God, if you play Jace in jungle and win, I will PayPal you $5 per game won. I should never have made that bet with him, and I hope he doesn't actually take it seriously because I'm really, really poor and I don't have the money. But there is going to be silliness, not just in the individual lanes, but also in how you adjust to the opponent. So to me, that's going to be the most exciting part. Lori, finally, what do we think of these oddball picks overall in how they will be sniped by the opponent? Because that's the other side. When no bans means that you can't ban it out against a person, you can't almost save it to the next. What do you think of sniping champions away?
I think that's a great strategy, but at the end of the day, I think the best strategy is always to play what you're most comfortable with. At this elo, people are always going to be high skill level, and so
True.
you're gonna need to play the champions that you really know really well in order to get that edge over these people who are all challenger, masters, grandmaster players. You're going to want to play something that you feel confident in, especially with those tournament nerves that are going to go on and maybe going to trip you up. You might not want to do a play that's a little risky because you don't want to, you don't want your team flaming you. So it's really important to be comfortable in your role and comfortable in that team dynamic.
I love the way that you talked about flaming teammates because the best part is if you haven't heard, not only are we commentating here, but a lot of the players are also streaming their own games. If you are in Raina's Discord, please go ahead and check out all the different stream links. I know Triton has put his stream, I believe, and a few others. I believe Raina's even doing hers as well. There's a lot of people that are currently streaming the POVs. So if you don't want to hear our lovely voices or Lori's, mine's kind of raspy right now, but you want to hear all the shenanigans and the hatred of teammates and possibly flaming as someone locks in something they probably shouldn't, it's going to be fun. Go ahead, check out all the streams there. I will try and post them where I can as well. But that's also the fun of it. This is a community tournament, and we do hope to have a lot of fun, a lot of silliness, and a lot of banter in the chat. But I do agree, gotta play what you like. Play what you like and play what you're good at. Those are the stipulations if you want to win, because we do have a prize pool of about $1,000 total here on the day. First place is getting that sweet, sweet 50%. It is $500 for first place. I believe 250 for second place, 150 for third, and fourth gets 100. Essentially, if you make it to day two, you automatically get paid out. And Lori, that is to me the best part about it. You just win your quarterfinals and you're good.
That's true. That's true. It's going to be exciting. I really enjoy having stakes on this game. League is all about having fun, right? It's all about
Oh
having
yeah, yeah, yeah.
fun, right,
That's why we play
guys?
the game. That's
But
why we play the game.
some cash to sweeten the deal is, I can't say no. I wouldn't say no to getting some cash at the end of my games.
Hey, there you go. That's what we wish we always had in like solo queue, right? Someone pays us like $1 for every win, but the problem
Exactly.
is they would take like
I think I'd be in debt. I'm not gonna lie to you. If it was solo queue, I think I'd be in debt if we were paying $1 every time we lost.
Oh no, I would cry. I would honestly cry. I have too much. There's a reason I stopped playing solo queue. Is for that reason. Every time I looked at my match history, it'd just be red all the way down. I'm like, I can't do this, man. I'm spiraling into depression right now. It's a rough time, but it is going to be fun. We have gotten word though in terms of who is on what side though. Evolutions will be on blue to start, and Team Robbie Bob will be on red. Now with no bans as well as a somewhat interesting fearless system, it will be fun to watch, but with blue side and red side, especially with no bans, it does open up space for a team like Evolutions, who has Arya, who has a lot of these other big names, to nab up those very specific champions, which I'm very excited to watch for.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering if we're going to see some more traditional comps or if we're going to be seeing some more off meta comps. This isn't Worlds, this isn't LCK. I wonder how they're going to prioritize kind of having the for fun comps, what they're comfortable with versus that more traditional, the Azir, Oriana, the
Yeah.
Aurora that we saw at Worlds. What are we going to see? A more pro drafting, or are we going to see more? I'm comfortable with this champion. This is what we're going to play. Something more akin to something we'd see in like solo queue kind of thing.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we have seen worlds kind of come and go, and one of the big things about that is it has shown us what is strong in the meta. At the same time, it is that fine balance. So we talked about meta a little bit. What champions are you expecting to see? Let's say in the ADC role, because I do feel like we have some very highly mechanical players here on the day, which can give rise to maybe those uncommon ADCs, like the Vayne, like a Lucian. Well, Lucian's meta. I can't even say that now, but like the Vayne, maybe like a Samira even to come out here. We've seen some high elo Samiras, even though it's not that strong. I mean, what do we expect to see in that bottom lane as a carry potential?
Yeah, the ADC meta shifts a lot, but at the same time, I feel like ADC is such a standard role, and that it does what it's supposed to do, and it doesn't really change.
True.
The what the purpose of the ADC role really stays the same throughout the seasons. But I know MF is very very strong. Tristana has been very very strong. I wonder if we're going to see some of those APCs in the bot lane, but that has kind of fallen out of favor just a little bit. Maybe we're going to see a Yunara, although I think they may have nerfed her just a little bit since Worlds. Things have really been
Yeah.
shifting since then. What I'm most excited, you touched on this a little bit earlier, is the jungle meta shift. They've been buffing a lot of the top lane champions that we typically see up there to kind of go into the jungle. So, I wonder if we're going to see something more like a Fizz jungle. Yesterday I was playing
Ooh.
and I saw Ornn like 3 times in a row in the jungle. Wasn't great, I'll tell
No,
you that. But
no.
again, I'm in gold. So, maybe we'll see some, high level Masters, Grandmaster, Challenger, Orange jungles. That would be exciting. Maybe a Riven in the jungle.
No.
I think the role to look at today is going to be that jungle pick. What do you think?
You gotta stop bringing up the PTSD. Listen, I really don't want Arya to get away with this, but I do agree. It is gonna be a lot of silliness. It is gonna be a lot of fun, and hopefully a lot of good content as well. I know a lot of these players want to show their stuff and be able to give us a what for. But I do agree, it's going to be a shift. It's going to be weird, and it's going to get off the record. I want to say I don't care about the money, but if Arya wins on some random champion like an orange jungle, I mean, I know even Malphite, I think, got a buff in the jungle where they gave him minion damage or camp damage for whatever reason. I tried to play jungle Malphite once and got absolutely flamed and rightfully like semi-banned, I think, for that game. That was a rough one. Don't talk about that one. But it was, I do agree, it is going to be a treat and a half. So, last question here. What supports do we want to see them? Because if we're talking about these high skill levels, and we're talking about this craziness, we touched on the ADCs, it's a heavy shift. And also with the jungle now kind of rotating into a more volatile state, a lot of those utility supports plus the aggressive supports can come out. Obviously, some players like to move into the Rel, into that Nautilus, into maybe even the Thresh. Do we get to see more of the enchanters come back out? Do we get to see the Lulu, the Jannas, and all those?
Yeah, that's a great point. For me personally, I really want to see those playmaking supports. Like the Bard, the Renata. Even the champions with the hooks, Pike, Blitzcrank, Nautilus. Nautilus has been a really solid pick recently. He was in the jungle for a little bit. Now I think he's solidly back in the support role. But that hook,
Hey,
you can't miss with that. One hook is really all you
true.
need. So I really want to see those playmaking champions over a little bit more of the enchanter champions. But it
All
looks like we're
right.
going into draft. We've got Team Evolutions versus Team Robbie Bob. This is going to be exciting. I'm super excited to see what they play, what they prioritize first going through, especially with the no bans. But I'm going to pass it on to Orbital. What do you think?
I think we're already getting spiced right out of the gate. This is Elise Spin to start, which I love. Again, as we mentioned, if this is actually Arya in the jungle, it's a high skill champion. It makes sense as well. So I didn't get to mention it a little bit before because I completely lost track of my mind. Not only is there no bans, but every team through the group stage to simulate a fearless style draft is only allowed to play champions once in terms of their own individual pools. So in essence, each team should be playing 15 unique champions throughout the entirety of the group stage, and then it resets once we get to quarterfinals. The fact that for Arya, you're pulling out a Lee Sin, which is well known as a meta high skill, maybe lower reward than it used to be, as your opener shows that you're still hiding your cards. So for Evolutions, which by the way, I don't remember if he's Umbreon or Espeon, I'm thinking Umbreon, it is going to be a treat. And I mean, there's a Zed on the other side, so Raina, hopefully getting that Zed, and it's going to be outskill versus outskill here. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you on the point of Lee Sin. Has been a little bit less reward the past couple of years, but I think on a team like this with the skill level, this is something that is a big playmaker, a big team kind of champion. And it looks like we're going to go for the Lucian on Robbie Bob. This is exciting. What do you think about that Lucian?
I am already seeing an early game fluctuation here. That's what I'm looking at. You look at the Zed, you look at the Lucian, and you say these don't fully scale into the late game. Lucian can output damage, but it is very much an early to mid game champion, which is a double-edged sword for Rex. Not for Rek'Sai, because that's Rek'Sai coming out here. I believe that's White Snow over there on the other side, so I love it. But the Lee Sin specifically, I think, wants early to mid-game champions to try and delete early. So it's a double-edged sword in the fact that Lee Sin will either die by the sword or live by the sword in either direction. Either you get the kills over these assassins and these squishies, or you lose your life. So it plays in the hand. The Rek'Sai, though, is a nice buffer towards that mid to late range. I love what they're lining up, and the Nami steal away from that Lucian. I like Evolution's like, yo, we're not giving you every piece of the puzzle.
Definitely. You know, this is I think the world's influence coming in. We saw the Rek'Sai top lane
Yeah.
at KT versus SKT. You know, and it worked pretty well with the sustain and the tankiness and then the engage on the Rek'Sai. It seems like a great team to kind of round out with that Lee Sin, that double combo wombo is going to be great with the backline into that tidal wave from that Nami, especially against the Lucian and the Zed. It'll be a great CC stopper for those. And it looks like we're going to get the Melio into the Lucian for the little bit of a range buff. Melio has been so strong this patch. What do you think?
I don't like the soccer ball. I really, really don't, because it has disrupted a lot. I also play a lot of CC champions personally, but it is, I would say, outshining the Nami as of recently. Obviously, they nerfed the Lucian Nami combination, so the Melio has always risen in priority. So this combination still lends itself to a very powerful set. Not only that, if you can disrupt the Rek'Sai, if you can disrupt the Lee Sin, this is perfect ways to keep your backline safe. Now the question is, they're very squishy on this side. For Rabiabab, I do want to see some sort of HP bruiser or just straight up tank. It's your option in there. The Poppy is perfect. I love the fact that I can call that out. It means my Silver Brain is still in there somewhere, and it's a great denial tool. Once again, Lee Sin and Rek'Sai not able to get in as easily.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really interesting here is if we look at both comps, neither comp really has an AP kind of carry. So I think we're hopefully going to see something like that in the mid lane. You know, the Rek'Sai, Lee Sin are going to be a little bit more tankier on the bruisier side. And then on the other side, we have a little bit more of that AP assassin, almost go in big damage with that Lucian and the Zed. And even the Poppy is still going to be AD. Sorry, I meant AD. So hopefully we can see a little bit more of the AP coming out in the next last 3 picks here. What do you think they're going to pick for mid lane?
As much as I would like to say AP, I don't know about these squads. I'll be honest, like, I want AP. I'm an AP main myself. You see Ziggs in the back corner there, and it is a Syndra. Okay, great. So I like this lineup here. Syndra, I think, is a great overall champion. However, APs do not really synergize with high outplay. The only one, in my opinion, that does is like a LeBlanc, which even LeBlanc has some heavy caveats right now. So I like the Syndra. It's a nice setup. This is a very nice, almost front to back style for evolutions. You can set up with a Syndra Scout of the Week. You can walk into a Insect in there as well if you wish. So there's setup potential, but this ADC route for evolutions needs to be big. You are leaning. I hate you guys so much. I hate you so much. So they've done this to me before, by the way. In the previous tournament, we've seen Mel and Nami's before. It's a brutal combination, but I hate it because, again, you don't have reliable, consistent damage. And at the same time, it's so much damage at the same time. I hate it.
Yeah, it's definitely you know, Evolution's game plan right now. Their win con is definitely going to be if you are CC'd, you are dead with a Mel root, which they did nerf here, but you know she got so much more damage there. And then with the Morgana, we're getting a little bit more AP, some more CC on Team Robbie Bob. Again, very interesting comps here. You know, they went full AP on Team Evolutions, and then they went almost basically all AD on Team Robbie Bob. What is going on here?
I think they had a last minute swap. So, not a last minute overall swap. I think they were hoping for the Poppy jungle, but with the Mel and Syndra locked in at the end, they're going to either shift the Poppy into the top lane and put the Morgana jungle, or give the Poppy jungle still and rotate Zed top and maybe look at a Morgana mid. Those are some of your options in there, I think, because Morgana can clear at the current moment in the jungle side. But it was that idea of seeing the Syndra in the Mel as a round out instead of maybe more AD. The Morgana extra Black Shield on top of the Milio Campfire Rest will be enough to break the CC chain. But it is a slap-shod way of putting a bandage on a very large AP wound that I think Robbie Bob had done a great job in the moment of kind of cauterizing or covering for their composition.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm gonna go on the flip side of what you're saying. Is I think it's going to be
Mm.
Morgana bot lane versus that
Oh.
Mel and Nami and taking the Zed mid lane. I know Morgana has been pretty strong recently. She was strong in the jungle. She's been pretty strong as a support role. You know, with the Nami bubble and the Mel root, that Black Shield is gonna have a lot of worth, a lot of value here with the
Mhm.
Lucian there, as well as getting some of that poke down with her W, and hopefully hitting a Q. I think the only thing to look after is, you know, of course, pesky Mel W. I think Mel is overtuned. I hate her as a champion.
I knew it was
So
coming. I knew it was coming with like the train of thought there.
you know, that's like the one thing that Team Robbie Bob is gonna have to look out for. But you know, with the Melio pick, probably not. But I can hope and dream and wish. But it'll be fun to see where they kind of place. It's a little bit of a flex between that, you know, the Poppy and the Morgana, definitely.
Yeah, it's a weird one. And again, when it comes to these drafts where there's no bans, you can't really counteract a lot of it. It's literally just draft heavy. And so, the way that you said it, the fact that we are getting these shifts and possibly even lane swaps in there, that's a whole other story that we haven't really talked about, which I don't know how it's going to rock out. I'll be honest, I'm silver. I haven't played ranked in forever. I watch some of these games. I do love to study it, but I can't identify what they're going to throw down considering the players, considering what they're playing for, and considering the fact that technically this is just replacement at the end of the day. So if you want to get messy, if you want to try and throw, you know, a 1v2 or anything like that, it's up to you. And so for me, I do just want to know where Morgana goes. I do want to know if it's in the jungle, if it's in the top lane or wherever. And I want to see Team Evolutions be able to fight against it as well, use their comp to the best of their advantages.
Yeah, definitely. Another exciting thing is, you know, we've seen Zed in the jungle. You never know. They might pull out Zed in the jungle.
True, I
So,
forgot about that. Why would you remind me of that? No.
but looks like we're gonna go into game soon. This is super exciting. This will be the first match of the tournament. I'm very excited to see what these teams do. Any last thoughts before the teams start cracking?
I love this map. It's so good. I love. That's all I'm gonna say. I will say I miss the old winter Christmas Summoner's Rift map, which was much brighter, and I could hide Bad Santa Vigar's cage in the trees, which was the funniest thing in the world.
Funny.
But I still love the winter map. It's a beautiful map, and hopefully we get to see it. Well, we are gonna see it a lot. Last thoughts here, though. We need to see Arya get off to a really good start. By the way, for Evolutions, it is White Snow, Arya, Sachaya. God, I hate those two so much. They have streamer mode on. I have to tell them not to. I believe it is Yulu and Spartan. Spartan on the Mel and Yulu on the Nami there.
Yeah, this will be really exciting. A little bit of poke from the with the Morgana into the Lee Sin, but you know, nothing too aggressive going on here. Looks like they're just kind of setting up, getting their vision down, looking for that
Yep.
invade. That's not going to happen. So I'm glad each team is kind of playing it a little bit more cautious this time around.
Yeah, and I horribly misread the room. You are 100% correct. Even though the Morgana didn't go into the bot lane, it's going into the mid. We are seeing a Zed jungle come out for Laceration and then the Poppy on the top side. So that's a massive freaking call. I forgot that Zed actually did get buffs on a lot of the damage. I think he even got not just added but buffed on top of it. It was a two-patch parters, so they actually gave him a lot more credit inside the jungle role. And to me, Zed is always a mid lane champion, especially for Raina.
There's a double root from the Mel. It looks like they're going to go in, but Mel's going to have to retreat back into the turret. A little bit of poke from each side. Melio's just free hitting onto the Nami. Look at the damage from the Lucian. There's another root onto the Melio, but it looks like Lucian is going to try to get back in there. Are they going to have enough damage to get that Nami? Nami is not going to go down.
Oh, executes up!
Shield. Oh my god, that's first blood for Mel. There's Amelia's gonna have to flash out of there to avoid getting that double kill, and that is first blood onto the team of Evolutions already.
Oh, that was epic on so many ways. I didn't respect it, but you did, Lori. I love it because, look, Mel has execute, and when you start with your root first, it doesn't feel like that much damage, and it has a very long cooldown as well. But the fact they stayed in auto attack range, the fact that poor Danman was like, I want to try and take this trade, you forgot that the XE can bleed on through, and it was so well timed coming out from Evolutions.
Definitely, definitely. Is Morgana Raina, by the way? I think she's also on streamer mode.
Yes, that is Raina, I believe. I hopefully will chat with them and say, hey, please turn off streamer mode so we can give you the due credit. But I do believe that is Raina.
Perfect. Yeah. Did you want to introduce team, the other team as well with Poppy and
Yes.
Zed? Perfect.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It's Team Robbie Bob. We got Crazy Candy, Laceration, Raina, as well as Danman and Collie Dino. All of them very prominent members inside of Raina's community, as the name would suggest.
Yeah, great black shield from Raina here into the Syndra. Syndra E. She's gonna get the wave pushing in, but Morgana's down just a little bit of health here. Zed looking to go bot lane. We've got the double matchup on the jungle on the bot side. It looks like for another scatter the weak doesn't hit, and Morgana's pretty safe here behind the minions. A little fight over the scuttle crab. The Zed's gonna go in half a health of damage onto the Lee Sin here, but he's gonna get out with his life here. Is that a lane swap that I see in the top lane already?
It is, and I don't know why exactly you chose to do it, because I think you were doing okay, but it's a good recognition, I want to say. If that is actually, off the top of my head, if that is Spartan, recognizing that, hey, I'm not going to get as much value as I had earlier against the Lucian Milio, who will outrange me after a while, this swap, I think, is necessary. However, normally you would play with a support. They're coming up a little bit late.
Oh, here's the Nami gank, and there's the root. Flashing the root is able to get out with Poppy's life there. Looks like Rek'Sai is going to be pushed a little bit under tower, especially with that range from the Melio and the Lucian there. What an exciting game. They're already lane swapping 4 minutes in.
I'm really not sure about that, but if they opt for it and the Mel actually gets a very high amount of CS from it, and you're able to keep the Poppy down as well, that's huge. However, in the mid lane, I do want to point out with Reina's Morgana, you're not actively looking for fights. A big thing is, as long as you don't take too much damage, you just wave clear. You wave clear, rotate into enemy's side, go back to lane, wave clear, and do the exact same. It is a constant negation of a lane matchup, I feel like. And for Sachaya, that's actually a little bit of a rough state. For Morgana, or for a Syndra, you want to be able to fight in the lane. You want to try and look for that execute at level 6, and instead you're being forced to burn mana constantly just to clear a wave. It is a great way to deny a Syndra her lane state.
Yeah, we can definitely see the Morgana's poking down the Syndra and letting her waste her mana. She's almost no mana already. They're going to have Prio. The red team's going to have Prio for this dragon, and I don't think Team Evolutions will be able to contest this at all.
No, it's not really looking like their own, and it's just, I mean, that's the other part, is the Morgana's in the way. Arya, though, can look for it. Nah, not a chance. Thought about taking the Q. 100% thought about taking the Q.
Definitely thought about taking the Q. You know, I would have liked to see that. You know, just a little spice to spice it up a little bit. Maybe if we could get a quick steal, dragon steal at 5 minutes in, that would have been really fun. But he was on vision there. I don't think he would have been able to get it off. But that's okay. You know, he lives with his life. Just the first drag, not a big deal. But man, I feel bad for this Poppy. Ooh, and there comes the corrupted chains. Is she's gonna be able to get it?
Oh.
She is able to get it, and there's the Zed. Oh, but Unleashed Power comes out and is able to get that trade back. That is a 1-for-1 on the Zed from the Syndra. And a great showing from Team Robbie Bobby. And another fight breaking out in the bot lane. Rek'Sai is gonna go in, but is he gonna be able to get out with his life? He is able to get out with his life. Arya here to save the day with the shields, and it is no kills in the bot lane for either team.
Getting messy here, Lori. We're going to be flexing your play-by-play voice, I think, very, very quickly across the opening minutes here, because in the mid lane, we saw the flash, very late flash coming out of Sachaya, which was unfortunately their own undoing, but because Laceration jumped in, it was a great win. Bot side, White Snow healing up on the back end, but not level 6 for Arya, meaning you can't really fight this out. If you had that kick, I think you would have been able to try and take this 1v2 or this 2v1, whichever one it was. And instead, Danman and Collie Dino are not punished for that aggressive action.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see the TP come out from the Morgana into mid lane, looking to bully the Syndra just a little bit more. Bot lane's going to kind of back up just a little bit. Rek'Sai has great damage here. I just think it's really hard to play into that range that is Lucian with the Melio buff. But, you know, Lucian's gonna go top and kind of see if they can maybe match the Mel and the Nami here. Emilio's following quickly, shortly behind him. The mid lane seems to be pretty matched up. What do you think about the Mel into the Lucian matchup here?
The Lucian versus the Mel Nami. Danman's not gonna enjoy this at all, I don't think. Like, you need the Milio to help out, because when it comes down to to the duo versus duo, I think Danman and Kalidino can do a lot. You dodge out, use that extended range and all. In the 1v2 though, Nami and Mel have way more healing power and outright damage to force Danman off. I think this was a band-aid to say, hey, Kendi needs to get back in the 1v1 matchup. We'll go ahead and ply, and then we'll look for the grubs on the top side, which is why we're seeing actually a push from Evolutions with Arya.
It looks like there's going to be a gank from the Lee Sin. He gets his Q up. Is he going to take it? He is going to take it. The Nami Bubble's going to go in.
Wait.
There's the kick from the Lee Sin onto the Lucian. Lucian's a little bit trapped. He's in a 3-man. He flashes out to get away. Is he going to be able to get out? No, he's not. That is Mel claiming the feats of warfare. And here is Zed looking to get another kill on the Syndra. There's the Chains of Corruption again. And down goes Syndra for the second time. And another kill onto our Morgana.
Oh?
And another game.
Continuing though.
It's continuing. There's the death mark. Is it able to get out? No, it is not. That's a huge ultimate from the Rek'Sai onto the Zed. And another kill for Team Evolutions here. It looks like they're going to go straight to the grubs. This is a great play for them. What do you think?
Yeah, it was cross map, right? You went to the top side. Arya dodged out the soccer ball, made sure to stay safe, and then it was a little slip shot, by the way. Danman and Kalidino split, and the eyes of Evolution split as well, but they still got the kill. That's the main thing, right? Still got Danman. And then they immediately TP'd White Snow into that mid lane. After Sachaya went down, it was an overextension by Laceration Morgana. They had burned everything, and so they cleared the top side of the map. Why wouldn't you go for grubs? Quite honestly, if they didn't go for grubs, I would have been very surprised. So they are able to give themselves a lot of bonuses, especially because Kendi gets so much free time to farm here on the bot side. You needed to take everything on the top side of the map for that fight.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great rotation by Team Evolutions. They came out on top after losing their Syndra. It looks like they're going to do another lane swap here into the Poppy here. It just seems like they're kind of going back and forth, trying to apply pressure and make sure those top laners don't run away with the game. What do you think about the state of the game here? Who do you think has really been keeping the tempo?
Neither team and every team, by the way. That's kind of how it goes. They're still feeling out the waters. However, I will say for Evolutions, I think they're on a little bit better track. For Team Robbie Bob, they drafted a very early to mid-game composition. They don't have that much late-game prowess. So for them, they're on a much higher timer. They are sitting there going, okay, if we don't win by about 20 minutes, 20 to 25, if we don't get an extended lead, I should say, we're going to be in trouble. Whereas you have a Mel, you have so much more to be able to fight against in the late game that I think you're going to be happy even if you reach that late game in a not so great standard. So it's Team Robbie Bob that are in a little bit worse for wear position if they don't find lead.
Yeah, there's the Zed gank. Is he going to use a death mark? He doesn't have it. He's not going to be able to go in here. And there's the Lee Sin looking for him. And the tidal wave comes out. The death mark comes onto the Lee Sin. Lee Sin kicks his Zed away, but he's able to get out with his classic shadow. It looks like no kills are going to be seen in the bot lane, even though it's Rowdy Melia looking a little bit out of position. And as well as a big fight happening in top lane. White Snow going in on the Poppy and is able to get the kill onto the Poppy. That is one more kill for Team Robbie Rob. And the bot lane is still going in. Arya looking a little worse for wear. But the Melio's soccer ball is going to be kicked back to him. And that is truly what Mel can do. Just totally reflect the soccer ball and make the engage non-existent there. It looks like the bot lane is going to come out a little low on the health, but now it seems like this is going to be a fight for the drag. What is going on here?
What's going on is Team Robbie Bob feel like they need something else, and they're even bringing a TP in to try and gather.
And there's just another kill on the Mel. Mel looking a little bit down, goes down from the Lucian, but the Poppy is going and engaging. There's a teleport. There's Scatter the Weak, not able to flash from Kendi, looking for the kill, but Nami has no mana here, and she doesn't have Tidal Wave either. She's not going to be able to re-engage, and it seems like Red Team is going to take Cryo for the Dragon here.
Not a bad spot to be in. Arya wants to try and look for a steal. Will land it. Are you? Nah, no steal.
Doesn't get the dragon here. Clean smite from Laceration. You know, I'm really enjoying this Zed jungle. It's going better than I thought it would be going.
Well, you already have the damage. And again, for Arya, it was kind of a Hail Mary at the end of the day. You're ahead, you feel like you can go for a shot there, and you don't want the Dragon second to go up. So it does make sense. However, the fact that we are seeing Team Robbie Bob still be able to collect some of these global objectives, still be able to have some sort of fight on the bot side, does bring a bit of worry, which is why we're seeing that 1v1 there. It is Raina to try and flash in, Sachaya able to stay alive, but so far Evolutions, even though you weren't able to get Dragon, it's not the worst in the world.
Oh, there comes Culling the weak, and the Culling, it doesn't hit. There's the Mel just reflects all of it, and the Death Mark comes out, push into the tower range. Laceration is gonna get out, maybe. The Golden Eclipse comes out, isn't able to get that big damage, but it doesn't matter. Mel gets the kill regardless, and it seems like Zed and Zed's gonna run away with his life.
Quite honestly, I feel like Evolutions were hoping for 3. They got 1, they were hoping for 3. That's how messy and how far Team Robbie Bob actually went. So the fact that Team Robbie Bob only lost their support, I would consider a win. At this point, both teams are starting to pull back a little bit and reassess where they're currently at. You take a look at the gold, we're looking at about a 1.5k difference in favor of Evolutions. It doesn't really feel like that. We've been so messy throughout the entire game. The only thing that you are looking at is Team Rabiobov have 2 dragons, Evolutions have 3 grubs. Next objective is going to be this hero that you want to play for, and we're still waiting for first or second tower, I guess, since Evolutions were able to take the top side. So we're gonna start seeing the teams recognize that, hey, we gotta start grouping up, we gotta start playing as a squad, and we can't play as perfectly as we wish in a solo expedition. What you need to do, start looking for those 2 to 3 man fights and take wins that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing that was misplayed was the Mel Golden Eclipse. She had the mark on 3 of the Robbie Bob players, but wasn't able to get that execute on any of them except for the one player on Robbie Bob. So it looked like it was going to turn the tides, but Lucian and the Zed were able to get out with their lives here. Very interesting matchups. People are kind of going all over. The bot lane has kind of congregated to the mid lane, doing that little bit of a safer lane, staying in the mid lane. There's a Morgana Q very nicely placed onto White Snow. He's going to get out, and Morgana's going to be pretty safe there in the bot lane.
Yeah, for Raina, one of the biggest deals is you want a good side lane matchup. Either that or you are being forced into White Snow. White Snow has also been given a lot of freedom. 2-0 and 0 has some of the higher CS of the top laners. So you know you can kind of push on your own throughout the entirety. And that's another catch. Oh no!
There's a Black Shield coming out, but Ultimate comes out, is able to get onto the Morgana, but it looks like Arya's gonna stop the gank from the Zed, and that's a 1 kill towards making our Rek'Sai 2-0 to 3-0. He's pretty strong here. Maybe this is gonna be our carry, the Rek'Sai top lane. Are they looking for more? It doesn't seem like they'll be able to kill Laceration here. The Death Mark comes out onto Arya, but Arya's the tower shot onto Arya. 1 more. Is that a kill? Whoa. That is a kill for Laceration. Puppy gonna go in, looking to chase, get that kill onto the Rek'Sai, and that is a double kill for Laceration. Back in the game, back on the board. Is Nami gonna die here? There's the tidal wave, but the push from the Puppy is taking tower. Is she gonna be able to live? There's the last breath from Melio, and that is another kill for Laceration for the triple kill. The Zed is 5-2. Is he going to be stopped in this game? Who knows who's gonna stop him?
To be fair, Evolutions tried, and Team Robbie Bob said no. Laceration from tower to tower said thank you very much, and it was a punish of the overextension. Evolutions thought they could take the tower in a 3-1 dive. It was a great wave clear from Laceration, and then you saw the collapse from the rest of Robbie Bob. It was the right idea on paper from Evolutions. They were able to get the tower and then back away. They wouldn't have lost so many, but the minions fell too quickly, so Robbie Bob rightfully punished. And the juggle at the end from Robbie Bob making sure that none of them died underneath the tower when they dove the Nami, when they dove Yulu. Beautiful work there.
Yeah, poor Nami. She pulled out all the stops. She tried to get that tidal wave, but the Poppy was just too tanky. Tanked about 2 tower shots, still didn't go down. The Melio ult came out to save, and then Laceration was able to pick up his 3rd kill. And now he's kind of on a roll with a $200 gold bounty on his head. He's going to be the player to look out for here.
For me, it's all about, you know, is anyone else going to help out? Because if we get to see Raina actually get into the mix as well with Crazy Kenny, this can be a solid almost denial. You can section off anyone that you want, blow them up, and then look for the rest. Mainly, I want to make sure Laceration either gets Mel or Sachaya. Possibly Mel. However, right now, it's a 5v1 slot with a TV from Sachaya.
Ooh, looks like the death mark is gonna come out onto Sachaya. Sachaya looking to be popped right here. White Snow nowhere to go. He is getting chased by the whole red team. There's a huge 4-man knockup, but is it enough? It is not enough. Laceration gets another kill, and then onto Aria. There's only the bot lane left. Can Mel and Nami get out of this alive? She has the golden eclipse. No tidal wave. It looks like they're gonna run out with their tails between their legs and gonna give out that third drag here for Team Robbie Bob.
You know what? Good on Team Robbie Bob. I did not respect your game of buff Laceration, let Kendi tank, and then take everything else. That's all they did. Really, you saw the Black Shield on Laceration when they started, knew the Scout of the Week was going to come out. Sachaya had no way out. It was a great pinch onto Evolutions, and Team Robbie Bob continue their take of Dragons. They are now on Soul Point for the Chemtech Soul, which is maybe not the best in terms of direct combat power, but one of the best when it comes to some of these skirmishes where you need that extra resist, that ability to get out of CC just a wee bit faster. I like where Robbie Bob currently is. They just need to keep applying that pressure for the mid to late game.
Yeah, definitely. You know, things can change so fast in this game. We saw just 5 minutes ago, the gold score was Robbie Bob were down 2k, and now they're up 2k. There comes the culling. Is it enough? I don't think it's enough to kill the Mel. And Mel's just gonna get out there. You know, with her W, she's so almost tanky to some extent. You know, I mean, but look at Robbie Bob. All 4 of their players, minus Emilio, all have bounties on their heads. This could change in an instant.
It really could. If you get a good watch, if we get to see Evolutions with a great Scout of the Week, if we get to see great knockups or setups, it could be a turn. That is what, almost, let's say close to 1,200 gold? I don't want to do all the math there because I'm really bad about it, but if you are able to collect all that gold, not only are you getting 300 per kill, it's the bounties on top. Huge influx. That would put Mel and Sachaya really far up in terms of that damage output. So I do agree it could be a chance. However, the Herald is the one to watch for.
There's the death mark onto White Snow. He's doesn't have any of his teammates to kind of help him there. Is he going to get out? That is a Morgana kill onto the Rek'Sai. Aria's going to try to desperately go in, but Poppy is looking menacingly, and that is enough time for Laceration to get the Rift Herald there.
And again, I mentioned it before, I want to see Evolutions group up. I feel like they have a really good team fight composition. They have the Mel, they have the Syndra, great Scout of the Week into Roots. Not only that, giving back it to White Snow, who did have a lead for quite some time, has the HP to get through the initial burst. You can do a lot of work, but it was a choice from Evolutions to have someone in the bot side farming up that wave, and it's been rough there. Now Arya in a rough position as well.
Laceration trying to get the kill off of Arya. One last shortcut is not enough to do it with the heals from the plant as well as the Nami is not enough. But Laceration's going to try to go back into the middle. Mel with the W. The tidal wave comes out. Is he able to get the kill? He gets kicked back. And the final burn onto the Nami. And there's the culling. Can Lucian get the Arya? And Mel unable to get it. I don't know what's happening anymore in the bot lane. I can't see it. White Snow able to get away.
So much chaos.
Arya trying to look back in but isn't able to hit that Q. And it looks like it's just going to be that kill onto the Nami.
It's just chaos is all it is. And you're right, it is very hard to track because it's exactly the same thing for the teams. Laceration is playing a champion that is specifically geared towards, if an opportunity arises, I will take the opportunity, which means there's no real game plan in front of it. Running into Arya, sweet mix. You get some damage down and say, oh, I can actually fight the Lee Sin? Great, I'll fight the Lee Sin. And then it snowballed from there. You had to pull away though because the rest of the team was there. Great disengage from Evolutions, only losing the Nami. The problem is we're still seeing a lot of the rest of the game fall into their pocket. Team Robbie Bob get the Autocon, get a permanent buff with the XP, with a little extra damage, and are now significantly ahead for the upcoming Dragon in just a minute and a half, where you're going to decimate Evolutions if Evolutions are not grouped up and well prepared with vision.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're just looking at the Gold League. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. You know, Team Evolution is going to have to do something before this monster Zed runs away with the whole game here.
It's not even that. Laceration is great in the solos. Like, they are able to solo out anyone they wish. But you take a look at the rest of Gold. I mean, Raina is 3-1-3, has Zhonya's, can set up a team fight easy. You're looking at Danman, who has enough damage, 2.5 items. You can chew through a Mel and a not Raina, it's Syndra, if you so wish. Crazy Kendi has been really good at setting up fights. Very big tank master right now. So every single member has profited from Laceration's gains throughout this entire game.
The death mark comes out, but a huge blast plan from Rek'Sai saves his life there. Not going to be a kill, but that is a death mark down from the Zed. It looks like they're going to chase Poppy going in. Crazy Kennedy, the flash onto another blast plan. Man, whiz with his life. He is breaking ankles up there.
It's a little bit of a danger, but losing Flash right before Dragon is a little bit of a danger here because guess what? Either Team Robbie Bob look for the mid lane or they look for the Dragon. Either one is going to be okay for their name. We get more.
Mel and Arya in a bit of a tough position. The Colin comes out again. Doesn't hit the Q. It looks like they're going to live. And the Q does not hit from Morgana, but it looks like it could be a big engage here. They're gonna fight over this dragon, which is going to be soul point. It's gonna be soul, so this is a really important fight for them. How do you see Evolution winning here?
You need both Mel and Syndra to get that poke down. That's the whole reliance is constant aggression, getting the damage down first, and then opening up with Arya, opening up with the Rek'Sai behind. But for right now, it's so all over the place that Team Robbie Bob are able to start the Dragon immediately. This is going to be a dangerous game.
Ooh, stun onto Morgana. She has to use the Zanyas in order to survive, but the tidal wave comes out. Are they going to get the Dragon? It seems like they're still on it there. The Poppy with the Keeper of the Verdict, but the Mel reflects the Keeper of the Verdict. Poppy is out of the game. That is their full tank in the way behind their team. It looks like they're backing off just a little bit. Q flies out, doesn't hit its mark, and the Dragon is going to reset here. Great play by the Mel, using that W shield to reflect the Poppy ultimate there.
Big job so far, and I mean, this is a great stop. Evolutions have needed this for quite some time, and they're going to try and do it at death's door, but watch where Laceration is. Laceration can enter at any point.
Yeah, it looks like, I wonder if they're going to give this, but Poppy just jumps into the team. The blue buff is there to help out as well. Team Evolutions backing off just a little bit, but Lacerations is going to go in with the death mark. Is he going to find his mark? Mel with a W is invulnerable. Poppy, Crazy Kennedy is going to go in onto Arya. Arya desperately looking for the Dragon, unable to get it, and White Snow is in there. There comes the ultimate. Is he going to be able to get a kill? He is not able to get a kill. Is he going to survive with his life? The Lucian Colin comes out one more time. Golden Eclipse unable to find its mark. There's the bubble onto the Nami, and they are gonna run away with their lives. One down, one member. White Snow not able to be there to help his team, and the team is out, and that is soul for Team Robbie Bob.
See, that's the thing, though. We saw the damage output that Evolutions could put, but Team Robbie Bob is too far ahead right now. They're effectively using their wallet diff to take these fights, and now they're given one of the larger prizes as well. They have collected the permanent bust from all four dragons, the soul, as well as the Otacon. At this point, that gold lead of 4K is much closer to a 7 or 8K difference. A nasty lead for them, for Team Robbie Bob, who have consistently shown that they know how to outplay, they know how to use their gold lead, and they're going to continue to do so. You called out Laceration, this Zed in the jungle, 4 items deep right now, working on their 5th, furthest ahead of just about anyone else in the game. Nearly a full item over everyone on their own team. That is wild to look at.
Yeah, and it's definitely been very hard for Team Evolutions to kind of go in after the Rek'Sai. You know, the Mel, the follow-up from the Mel and the Syndra isn't quite there. And Danman is able to just shred through the Rek'Sai when he goes in. The Death Mark going to come out onto Arya. The Scatter of the Weak is able to save Arya's life. Goes back in and forfeits his life there. He looks at the Corrupting Chains onto the Syndra, and that is a one-shot onto bye-bye Syndra. And that's another stop from Team Robbie Bob.
It's not going to stop either, Lori. Like, this is going to continue to be Team Robbie Bob kind of putting the icing on the cake here. And I love the fact that they say, screw going for towers. We just want to make sure we get every single buff in the game. They're going for the Baron, and they're making sure that White Snow is nowhere in tow. It's an easy Baron for them. Team Robbie Bob are checking all the boxes to a game 1 victory.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of a wet noodle fight in the bot lane, honestly, with Rek'Sai and Poppy here.
I don't know what noodle you know that like starts chunking me for a good 100 HP each time.
I was like, I don't know who's gonna be. Their healths were going down, but they were going nowhere near 0. So, but Laceration looking scary in that bush. That bush is death for this Syndra if she decides to step up. I wonder if she's going to go looking a little scary. Is the Zed going to come out? Oh no! And there's another kill for Laceration. This man is unstoppable. 10-2 with a 700 gold bounty on his head.
It's the worst Christmas gift you could ever be given. That's what just happened there. I don't think
Tidal
anyone's
Wave
thankful
comes
for
out.
that one. Run!
Mel flashing, but Danman there to save his ADC, and the Coley comes out. That is another kill for Danman. 5-2, 500 gold bounty. He is there, looking a little bit like Mel was. You know what? Honestly, I'm glad because I hate Mel, so deserved.
Okay, listen. If we're on the desk, you can't really be. Okay, absolutely, you can. There's no problem with that. I understand being both a Mel player and a Mel hater at the same time. But we do have to say, for Evolutions, the draft was understandable, and considering that I believe Spartan is on that Mel, doing about as best as you can in the current position.
Poppy tanking several tower shots to kind of get into the white snow, but Danman here to back her up. And getting that turret, Danman going in, misses, but gets hit by the Scout of the Week. Doesn't matter, Deathmark comes out, Laceration, the monster is here. Are they gonna be able to get a kill? Huge damage onto Arya, and Rek'Sai is down once again. Scout of the Week hits 3 people into the root. Doesn't quite hit the root there from the Mel, but good damage onto the team. Mel is gone, one shuriken out of the game. Laceration, a monster, a beast on the Zed here. Looking, the team Robbie Bob looking to get this tower, and they're going to be able to get that tower, looking for the next in-hit.
Crazy work right now as Evolutions, they watch the base crumble in front of them. Team Robbie Bob don't really have to leave, in my opinion. They'll just wait for
Flash into the Deathmark! Oh my god, the Tidal Wave does nothing to save her ADC there. One desperate. We're gonna see last desperate attempts to kind of save the Nexus here. The Q onto the Morgana. Not able to kill under the fountain there.
Brutality at the end of the day. And that just hurts. Crazy Kenny joining the rest of the team here. White Snow, last ditch effort?
One last ditch effort. White Snow goes down. There's a corrupted change. He's gonna get into the Arya. Arya stunned there. What are we gonna see? The Zanyas from the Morgana, and Mel is down. The Coley comes out. Isn't enough to kill the Arya. It is because of Crazy Kennedy on there. There's the root onto the Nami, and I think Nami takes her last breath as well as their Nexus.
You know, I've never heard Kennedy be referred to as Crazy Kennedy, but I kind of like it. I mean, like, just going crazy all over the map, just making sure to be in the face of the opponent each and every time. I high-key appreciate it, and I think it's appropriate. Considering what Team Robbie Bob needed to do, they did need to play at this accelerated pace. As soon as they started getting some of the leads, they needed to push the envelope. And double AP is very, very strong. Granted, if you don't get ahead, if you aren't able to kind of stabilize the game, assassins will run you over, which is what we saw here in this game. Really, really well played to Team Robbie Bob.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing is with the Poppy in the top lane, Team Robbie Bob was able to have that true tank to kind of soak up all the damage coming from
Mhm.
the bruises, from the Lee Sin, from Scatter the Weak. Meanwhile, on the other team, Team Evolutions, there wasn't quite a true tank to kind of tank the culling from the Lucian, the damage, the root from the Morgana. One root from the Morgana and you're dead there, as we saw from Team Robbie Bob.
It's I'm a little bit worried to see more of that. Granted, they can't play the same comp in the next game, so we'll give it a little bit of time there. But honestly, it's a really fun one to start things off with, and I'm very excited for the rest of the tournament as well. Lori, I'm gonna let you rest your voice. You did amazing in that game, and now I'm excited for the rest of this group stage. So we'll go ahead, head to a short break. When we come back, Raina's Kingdoms tournament will continue in just a bit. Welcome back, everyone. Round number 2 of the group stage is upon us, and I'm very excited to see what goes down. We had a thrilling matchup against 2 amazing squads. It was Team Evolutions and a team that now begrudgingly wishes to be called Team Fat Pussies. You will only hear me say that once unless they go to the grand finals. But that was Team Robbie Bob versus Team Evolutions. It was a fantastic match, and it was quite enjoyable all the way around.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this upcoming match. We've got Team Only
Yeah.
Forward and Team Erg. This is going to be very exciting. I think they both won their first games today, so they'll be on. Did they win their first game today? Is that what we're going off of?
Yes. Yes, both of them are 1 and 0 in the group stage, 100% correct, and they are in Group A, which is actually, if you're taking a look at the bracket, which should be cycling through a lot of those, and we get to see it here. You can see where everyone stands. Now, of course, for Team Triton, they're not technically fourth. We will have that adjusted a little bit later. Same with Team Robbie Bob. They have each won. They're respectively first and second, but of course, we're not done with the group stage, meaning we're not worried about where those rankings are only at the very end. Not only that, you can see in Group A, Team Only Forward and Team Urk both won their opening games against Team Cupic and Team Only 35.
This is gonna be a really exciting game, some high level gameplay. So what are you kind of expecting as we go into draft here?
I am expecting maybe not so proficient on some of the champions. So keep in mind, a lot of these matches again, once they have played a champion in the first game, they can't play it again. And from what I see, a lot of the teams actually opened up with very high prio picks. They went for some of those high tiers immediately. They said, hey, we need those as soon as possible, and we need to make sure we can take those away. This is actually where a lot of the contests between teams start to happen. It's a weird format, but it's a fun one nonetheless. So for Team Urk, they hadn't played Mel because it was taken up by their previous opponent, Team Only 35. So this is their turn to play the Mel instead, and they grab it immediately, which I really, really like here.
Yeah, hopefully we see something a little bit more prio for the Mel than we saw last game here. Do you think it's going to be Mel APC, or do you think think the Mel's going to come in the mid lane here?
See, that's the fun part. I don't actually have to choose, so you can't make me choose, Lori. You can't make me choose. But it is a flex, which I really do like, and I appreciate when we see a lot of these champions where they are flexible. They can be placed in the mid or bot side, which is what you want from a B1 position. You want that champion that can be like, we don't have to decide where it's going to go. We can say it's going to go somewhere, and that's what you play it as. An answer, though, as Team Only Forwards say, we are assuming the Mel is mid. At the same time, Arya is always a good blind pick as well, so even if it is not in the mid, you're okay.
Yeah, definitely. I love the Ari pick. She's such a great push lane and then just go roam and try to help the rest of your team. Therefore, the picks. Bot lane is definitely going to feel it a little bit if for Team Urk here with that Ari. The roams are going to hopefully go crazy a little bit here. So I think this is a great pick. I don't totally enjoy the Ari into the Mel matchup just because of the, she can deflect your Q and her E. So, it'll be up to having really great positioning for the Ari and trying to get those picks in the other lanes. But looks like they're going to pick the Vi here for Team Only Forward. What do you think about that?
It's the one ability that Mel can't reflect, so I think it's great. It's perfect. You can't stop a cease and desist. You can't stop the Vault Breaker or anything like that, so it is a straight up, we want to find someone. So I like it. However, it's also a solid battery, which I love calling the mid and jungle. It's a very nice rotational gank pattern with the Ari, with the Vi. You can gank just about any lane. You can take a fight, and it's very mobile at the end of the day. So for Team Urk, you're drafting a little bit more into just that meta standard pick the Wukong. You are able to contest with some of the early game damage. I think Wukong has some of the best mid to late game damage, and you have a good all-around engage tool. So it's a nice matchup there.
And there's the Sivir for Team Urk, an interesting pick here. Really great for that charm, and also for the Vi. Although Vi has both the knockup and the cease and desist, and her spell sheet is only gonna fend off one of those. But a great lane pusher is going to be pretty safe in lane here. And Sivir has been pretty strong recently, so I like this pick here. I wonder if that puts maybe Mel support here that would be a lot of poke for Team Urk here. And the Orianna, that's pro play classic here. I wonder what they're gonna be going here with the Ari though.
Yeah, I was about to say, in a vacuum, it's good, but as a duo, it's a little bit wild. So the idea might be you're matching pace with the Orianna, maybe in the bot lane, wherever the Mel is going to go, and you're basically saying, hey, look, we know this matchup and it's a good one. We are going to play mix and match at the end of the day. Now the problem is that you've already drafted the Sivir, so it is showing that, hey, the Mel could be in the mid lane. We've seen Mel support, but that's fallen out of favor, I think, recently, ever since the start when she was released. So it's a mix and match at the end of the day. I really do think it's an Orianna support with the Ari in the mid lane, and you just go kind of for that buff up pattern and pray for the damage output. So Team Only Forward, quite literally only going forward. This is almost a no safety composition and all damage output.
Yeah, and they're gonna be able to take the Jinx here into the Sivir. Jinx is such a great team player. I really like her comp. We've got the sisters. We've got Vi and Jinx. This is gonna be really interesting to see them together. But again, Orbital, I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. I'm gonna say it's Orianna mid and Ari support with that charm here, and they're gonna pick up the Galio here. So maybe I'm wrong. Again, a little bit of a flex pick, but I do think we see Galio more in the mid lane than we do see him in support.
I actually agree with you on that point now with the Galio mixed in because this could put Galio at support role. It's now we're playing a mix and match game of the Ahri is trying to go where the Mel isn't. You mentioned before all the way at the beginning of the draft, hey, the charm, a lot of the Foxfires, a lot of the Orb of Deception, all of these can be reflected by Mel at the end of the day. So you're playing a mix and match of trying to get the Ahri into the wrong direction and say, hey, we want to get secure targets, even if it's a spell shield. Will it work is a whole different story as Team Urk are going full denial tools. Not only do you have the taunt with the Galio, you have the Poppy for the jumps in and jumps out, meaning the Vi will not have easy access. The Ahri will not have easy access. It is a brute force tactic from Team Urk as their composition is well rounded out.
Yeah, definitely. We see a little bit more tankiness on Team Urk. Meanwhile, Team Only Forward, as you said before, only going forward. They're going to go in, and they're not going to go out. With a little bit more tank here with the Aatrox pick. I actually really like the Aatrox pick here. He's going to be able to output and survive a lot of damage. He doesn't have a healer on his team, but hopefully he won't need one with all of the healing that he has in his own kit. Is this going top lane? It has to be, right?
At this point, it's Aatrox in the jungle. Screw it. We'll put Vi on the top side. We'll put Jinx in the mid lane and then double AP bot side. I don't know. I give up at the end of the day. Also, side note, Lunar, I don't eat ice cream with a fork. That is absolutely rude, and I am putting out a cease and desist against you. Either way, this is. I do agree that Aatrox is in the top side. This is a matchup that I think. Still, though, Team Urk are okay with at the end of the day. It's well-rounded. It's well thought out. For Team Only Forward, it's all damage. That's all they can do.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting game as we get started here. Team Only Forward versus Team Urk. Put your predictions in chat. Who do you think is going to win here? Are we going to see a complete stomp here, or is it going to be closer and a close match here? This is going to be super exciting. We do see that it is Mel support with, I was right, Orbital. Once again, it is the Ahri support in the bot lane. She's got that support item into the Mel. Doesn't quite seem to be able to dodge that Mel W in laning phase. But this is going to be an exciting start here. Aatrox already looking for a little bit of a damage here, but Aatrox is really strong early with this triple Q. But Poppy, she's got her buckler. She's in no trouble right now.
It's all about just getting the grasp of the Undying procs, I think, at the end of the day. And I love that. I love that Billion is 5 billion is actually recalling right now. It's like, dude, I can't deal with that. I just can't. So I do agree, though. This is a matchup kind of made for the Mel to kind of rock out here. Once again, I'm very upset. Both Sivir and Mel have streamer mode on. I said turn it off, people, but they don't care. So they don't get to do rewards calling in Sivir and Mel at the end of the day. I do agree, though. For this Ahri, you're kind of stuck in this position of, okay, I couldn't outrun the Mel. How do we deal with this? Because this is technically almost a double spell shield lane, so the Ahri is nearly negated. You're just hoping for Rima to lay down the extra damage behind after the spell shields go down.
Yeah, looking at the bot lane here, it's going to be hard to kind of dodge that Mel. She's got so much poke and so much range, and the Sivir bouncing. They're going to have to stay way far away from the minions here, but Ahri is going pretty aggressive into the Mel. They're going to get up a little bit of damage, and the Q misses, not able to get that chunk of damage onto the Sivir, and they're pretty safe here on the wave, pushing into the blue side. Rima getting poked out just a little bit in the middle of the bouncing Sivir Qs, Ws, so much damage from the Sivir and Mel. This is going to be a hard matchup for the other team.
Yeah, bouncing boomerangs are one of the most direct damage sources. The damage can stack up very, very quickly. It's why we also see a lot of Sivers starting to rock out with those extra.
Oh, there's a flash from the
Oh!
Mel, not able to get it onto the Ari. Ari is saved there living with just one tail left that she's gonna have to recall there. And the mid pushing in for the Orianna. Galio's, nope, Ari is backing. No, she stayed here. Crazy. Is she? Oh, she's just backing off to back in a safer place. A little bit of a skirmish from the Poppy and the Aatrox getting that Q down, poking out just a little bit. But just a couple skirmishes here and there.
It's been out there. I will say, I think for Hua, it was more just making sure that you didn't get hit by the mounting blades and get stopped on your recall anyway. So you took that little chance. You had to back away. You lose about 10 seconds on the recall there. So it's a rough time either way. For only forward, they are sitting there going, okay, we didn't really win out. The early trades didn't work. So for Sivir and Mel, you actually got a little bit of a reprieve. Expect the Sivir, another hyperscaler alongside the Jinx, to get good in farming, and unless the junglers opt to fight in the spot side, I don't expect this stalemate to break anytime soon. Just expect them to kind of farm up, keep farming, and hope for the late game.
Yeah, definitely. Vi seems to have pretty good prio here. She's kind of going for that first scuttle. A little bit more of a skirmish from Aatrox. Poppy is about half health here, going to be shoved under tower. Aatrox looking to just shove this in. And Orianna backing here. Vi looking to maybe go topside and get the double scuttle here. I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of a Wukong Vi fight here in the top river.
No, it's too late. Smite was actually held by Jamakin, which is really, really solid, meaning you get doubled. You have an extra camp behind you, so you can already see 33 versus 30 in terms of the camp count. I do believe also that means Jamakin got away with daylight robbery. I don't know what camp you stole away, but that has to be a camp over, which is wild to think about.
Looks like we're already... Yeah, looks like we're already starting to see that roam from the Ahri, getting that deep ward vision, which is going to be really really helpful later on when Wukong wants to come gank bot lane. Going to be able to do a little bit of damage on the Mel. There goes the Reflect. Isn't able to really stop anything. And Ahri is back in lane, ready to fight. A little bit of a skirmish in the bot lane. But I think for the most part, these two teams are playing a little bit safe. I think especially once they hit 6, we'll start to see a little bit more of those fights coming out. Is the Charm going to come out? The Charm lands onto the Sivir. Going to hit that Q, but doesn't do too much damage there. And we're back to the mid lane.
I mean, this is, for backstep, this is about as rough as it's really going to be. You're at a melee versus range. You know the CS differential is going to go very high as Minecraft is in the mid, so it's okay. It's not the worst in the world. As you said, it's a much slower paced game. These comps lend themselves towards the mid to late. They don't really scream early game, and level 6 can be there. I would also say level 8 and 9 when players are starting to get their first and second items on board when they start going for those globals, like the Dragon, like the Herald. That'll be up much later.
I wonder if we're gonna see some. Yep, Ari's gonna back there. She's gonna probably want to pick up some of those items, as Mel has already picked up the mana crystal there. You know, it's gonna really come down to what the jungle wants to do, and if the junglers are gonna be able to get prio for their team, players. What do you think about each team's team fights?
Ooh, I love Team Urk's team fight. By the way, this is as rock solid of a composition as you can get outside the Mel, I think. But in a front to back situation, Team Urk wins this 9 times out of 10. For team only forward though, theirs is a little bit more conditional because they don't have a lot of that safety, that inherent backpedaling that they need. If they have to backpedal, it's a lot more scattering. And for an ADC like a Jinx, I really hate that fact. Whenever I see a Jinx, I want to see the team built around it. And the rest of team only forward feels much more singular. They feel much more individual in how they want to play. If they don't get a lead, I don't like Midorima's chances of having that safe value, of being able to pump out that damage without losing their life in return.
Definitely. A little bit of a skirmish from support on support. Is Vi going to come in to gank for the bot lane? Looks like they're just going to go for the drag here. Is Wukong even near? Wukong, I don't see him on the map, actually. Oh, no, he's bot lane. Looks like they're going to be a little bit... No, Mel was covering the Wukong, so I couldn't see his icon there. We're going to see a little bit of a fight in the drag here. The flash from the taunt Galio onto the team. There's the charm. It comes out. Is he going to be able to live? He doesn't quite get the Vi, and Backdrop is back in the grave. The Wukong is down as well. There comes the cease and desist. Not onto the Mel. Mel going to be caught out just a little bit. She's going towards the wrong side of the map, and she's gone. And that is going to be a triple kill, an instant feat of warfare on top of the drag for team only forward. It seems like only forward is the name of the game today.
To be fair, they backpedaled very, very briefly. But yes, they only went forward, which is amazing. And as we talked about, this is how they want to play. When I was talking about Team Earth, I said their team fight is great. Here's the problem: that wasn't a team fight. They didn't have all 5. They only had 4. And it was an awkward position. No mana in the Mel as well. So in terms of damage override, all individual pieces of Team Only Forward were able to free fire, poor backstep, got forced into a position where you don't have any tank value. You got shredded, and then it was a pump out of damage. So for Only Forward, that was the best possible situation you could have had. You have the Feet of Warfare, you have the Dragon for yourself. Everything in this early game is moving in your direction.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna go straight from the drag into those grubs that are spawning here. But now the prio is for Team Urk here. Doesn't seem like there's too much contesting going on, but Ari in the bot lane is gonna walk up just a little bit to see what's going on. And Vi is gonna see we've got Smite up for both teams. This is gonna be fighting for the last grub here. Are they gonna get it in time? They're not gonna get it in time. There comes a Smite, but it looks like Aatrox is looking to do a little bit of a fight here. The clone comes out, the charm comes out. Keeper of the Verdict is channeling. Doesn't need to use it, but that is an ult coming out from Poppy there.
The Keeper's Verdict just making sure things are in a relatively safe position, just making sure Colton stays alive. The problem is for Team Urk, you're losing out on that jungle pressure. This is giving more time for Only Forward to rise up, continue their CS leads across, and build that momentum with that gold to the point where the front line, which is 5 billion, Jamakin, as well as Mighty Kraus, can almost 3-man frontline anything that comes, meaning Midorima is going to be safe for the rest of the battle. That is what they're hoping for, so they want to keep this pressure up, look for enemy jungle side, and cut Colton off at the knees.
Oh, a little bit of a skirmish on the Raptors. And the rune onto Vi, gonna get a little bit of damage out, but they seem to get away with it. They get the Raptors, a little bit of fight, and there's a kill onto the Poppy under tower from 5 billion. What a clean kill under the tower there.
That's what you get. That's what you get for being in streamer mode. That's what you get. You get killed by 5 billion. This is why you turn on streamer mode. Everyone says, all right, you have no name. You deserve no respect. And it's so well played. For 5 billion, who has been in this kind of 1v1, has been slaughtering the 1v1, by the way, the largest CS discrepancy so far in the game with 30, finally rearing their head of, I am using that damaged position. Is going to recall with a fat amount of gold in their pocket. I'm guessing an item up. Yeah, there it is. Sundered Sky straight in their hands.
Yeah, this is going to be great. You know, Orianna's also coming back with a nice Blackfire Torch, a little bit of a cheaper item, but she's going to be really, really great into the Smell and the Sivir as we get into the team fights. Poppy, again, on the lower end of health, even though he just recalled and came back to lane. Yeah, this Aatrox is really dominating this lane so far. First one to hit 100 CS here. He's going to be a monster once we get closer to those team fights.
I do give credit, though. 5 billion is the only one that hasn't rotated outside a lane for anything, right? Has been in this lane pretty much all the time. We did see the Poppy have to push out, trying to help the rest of the team, trying to make sure their jungler is safe, so it makes sense. But 5 billion has been using that time and space very, very appropriately. And as you said, first one to hit that 100 CS mark means that you're really far up, almost 2 levels up on your opponent. Is destructive work at the end. So for Only Forward, everything is leaning in your pocket, and you're just going to continue this lane state until 14 minutes when the plates fall.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we still haven't quite seen the hero's entrance come out too much in this game, so that could be a big game changer here. You know, one big taunt, one big knockup. There's the charm onto the Mel. She doesn't have a reflect anymore. The Chompers comes out, doesn't able to hit anybody. The root onto the Ari. Ari's looking out. She has to come out with a Spirit Rush, and is she safe? The Wukong is looking to maybe chase here. Wukong in the bush, but he doesn't know that they have vision. There's the charm onto Colton, and Colton runs away with his tail between his legs.
A little bit too real there. Just like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. Please, let me live. Let me live. But I do agree. It was an attempt. Team Urk still showing that they have fight in them. How much fight is actually going to come out is a whole different story. Mighty Kraus is trying to get this last plate.
Tanking 2 tower shots there.
That was
3 tower shots. This might be a turning point for the Galio here. But it looks like Orianna's going to back up just a little bit. Look at how much jungle Jamakin is just taking from the Wukong. He's just complete control of that bottom jungle here into the preparation for that Infernal Dragon here is going to be great for Team Only Forward. They're really setting up quite nicely with that vision, with that control of the bottom jungle.
Let's see if they can play it out a little bit more here. One of the things for me, only forward need to continue this pressure. They got Dragon, and it's Mountain Soul to play for, not great. A little bit boring at the end of the day, but it's still a nice one to have for a team that quite literally lacks a lot of the same stats. Extra magic resist and armor is perfect. If you get the soul, it's also a shield on top. So it can lead to a lot of really good results at the end of the day. So we'll see how it goes there.
Yeah, looks like both teams are going to have to recall just a little bit and get those items back on, especially for only forward with that gold, with that dragon gold. They're going to come back stronger than ever. You know, we see 100 gold, 150 gold bounties on their team. This is going to be hard fought, but, you know, I don't think it's unwinnable for Team Urk. Could definitely, you know, Sivir scales very well. You know, Poppy's going to get quite tanky. Galio's great for that team engage here. I don't think they're out of the game at all.
I don't think they are, but they're in a difficult position, I think is all we can really say about that, right? It's a position where you were hoping the Sivir is a little bit higher up right now, only has one more stack on that coal, which is not bad, but you don't like the fact that you are in this spot of, we're down a lot of gold, we're going to start bleeding towers very, very quickly, and by the time a lot of our scalers get up into the mix, we're going to be down and probably at our inhibitors the entire time. You want to stabilize somehow without losing too much, and that might just come in the fact that Colton just tries to run interference, as they're currently in enemy territory right now, in the enemy side of the jungle, trying to steal away a camp, possibly pissing off Jamek and Banana.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like a little bit of happening coming in the bot lane. Vi coming in with that channel isn't going to go in there. A little bit of a scary spot to be in. And again, we actually see Poppy up on health into this Aatrox this time, but still down a level into the Aatrox, fighting over those Raptors. The root coming out, the Charm somehow hits onto the melt. The Cyclone coming out, the Spirit Rush, and there's the Golden Eclipse. Gonna get that one. Are we gonna get that two? That's another kill for the Sivir. And Jinx is looking mighty, mighty dangerous here. She's gonna get out. No, and the Monkey is able to kill one last bonk onto our Jinx. And that went from 0-4, 2-4 to now 3-4. This game is tighter than we expected it to be.
Again, these punishes are brutal, to say the least. It was only forward saying, we can try and aggress. We saw Colton jump into our jungle, maybe we can catch someone out. You got double rooted in there, and your HP bars are not that strong, so for Team Urk, a much needed injection of gold. You clear that 3k down to 1. You fed gold into the Sivir, who now is going to be able to go back, buy up the boots, buy up your second component, and utilize that extra gold to start becoming that late game menace that we so desperately need for the team.
And that is first tower going to Team Urk now. They're going to have to fight over feet over the objectives there. Since we do know that only forward has the first 3 kills, feats of warfare, it's going to be an exciting game. You know, I think feat is so strong this season. It's going to really dictate how the rest of the game goes.
I hate the fact that that's going to happen again, by the way, because red team so far has gotten every single dragon across the group stage so far that we've seen on stream. And it's like, come on, we got to have a little variety. But I do agree. If that dragon comes down, if that soul is played for, it's huge.
Right, Wukong's going to be in the bot lane as Vi's going to try to take that Rift Herald, and that just might be a feat right there for Team Only Forward. Yeah, they're going to just go for the Rift Herald there, along with their 2 dragons. That's 3 of them. Orianna in a bit of a sticky situation, but I think she's pretty safe there by the second tower. Where do you think they're going to put that Rift Herald?
Wherever they get it killed. I really don't see any other option. It's just like, you can't drop it willy-nilly. There's enough damage on Team Urk that they can clear it fairly easily, and there's no tower that specifically has enough damage where you can break it, I think, in one charge. So you do want to get a kill. You do want to open up space a little bit more before you have to drop it. If not, well, I guess mid might be there. But at this point, I would expect it mid or bot side, and that would be the only spots really that you can get a whole lot of value from it.
Yeah, definitely. So far, we've had a really great control of the board from Only Forward. A really funny, funny name, by the way. I keep thinking of something else there. But yeah, I'm excited.
You and everyone else in the world, unfortunately.
I'm really excited to see the Sivir as we get more into the team fight, because as you said earlier, there's the charm. Are we gonna get a kill from the Ahri? Not gonna be able to assassinate the Mel there, but she does use her invulnerability, which leaves her pretty vulnerable there. Gonna get that ward down, but pretty safe. Colton here to kind of fend off the engage there, but he doesn't know that Vi. Well, now they know that the Vi is there, and there's the charm coming out. Gonna see that he was on vision the whole entire time. But yeah, hopefully we get to see more of the team fights, as they are a strong team fight champion, and especially with the Poppy coming in, and the Aatrox not gonna be able to get those 1v1 fights anymore. Looks like a big skirmish coming on, going for the big pressure onto Mel. There's the shockwave, unable to hit, and Mel with a great dodge there. Sivir getting chunked out just a little bit, and looks like they're gonna get prio for that Mountain Dragon.
I mean, that was a rough step either way. It was a grasp at the end, but normally I would say that's a danger point. You don't want to lose shockwave in front of a global objective. But the fact that Team Earth actually backed away gives a lot of credit to only forwards damage output. They see that that 5 billion is still there, and they say, hey, that's all the damage we need. Now, Backstep is in a rough spot and getting ganked.
He's gonna channel, but he's gonna get stopped by the Chompers. Is he gonna be able to get the content here? He has no teammates to do that heroic entrance on, and he is gonna go down as a lone soldier in the bot lane.
Feels bad. I hate saying this. You flash ulted over the wall, you would have been fine there. Because I believe Colton was in range, but either way, I don't think you want to expend a flash just to try and get to safety. Colton can't really help there, and it's more space to be worked with. Rima and Hua are doing really well.
Go in. There's the Cyclone. The Cyclone comes out. Oh, from the heels. Spirit Rush is not going to be able to do anything, and Colton is going to run out with his life. But here's the Aatrox looking to pick up another kill onto that Poppy. Is Poppy going to suffer the same fate she's been suffering all laning game? Ooh, and that is the Poppy. Rima getting their third kill onto that Poppy. And here, Vi going in between two towers. His team is right there. Looks like they're going to have to try to go for that tower, and they are able to get that bot first tower.
I love everything that transpired there. By the way, shout out to the Poppy. You did just about everything right. You were able to dodge out on that last third strike of the slam there from the Aatrox. You were able to dance away. You even E'd to a minion to try and get away. Literally, the odds were stacked against you. A shockwave on a solo target is brutal right there. So for only forward, they did exactly what they wanted to. Even Jamikin going straight to the back line hasn't really seen exceptional usage in a team fight. Still looking for those picks at 2, 1, and 3. Just went for the tower. This is, again, team only forward, utilizing their strengths here, saying we have enough to push for victory. We have 3 towers to our name. We can now look for the inner towers as well. And maybe look at Dragon in about 3 minutes. Get that soul for ourselves. Poor Sivir now getting caught a little bit.
She doesn't have her spell sheen anymore, which is great for the Aatrox. Just going, there's a flash onto the Q. Is Sivir dead? Sivir is going to lose a little bit of health, but Sivir is going to run away. She's pretty fast, especially when she pops ult, which she did here. A Call of the Hunt there. Ooh, it looks like Orianna's getting chunked down by this Poppy. Can Vi stop this? The shockwave comes out and getting chunked down. Poppy is running away from Milliken and is able to get shut down by our Orianna. That is one more kill to team only forward. Looks like they're just gonna go for Otacon here.
I mean, might as well. Mighty Kraus can stay far away. Hua can stay far away. No one's really in position, and 5 billion is right in mid lane. Easy rotate if they want.
Maybe a steal with the clone. Yeah, not quite. The cycle comes out. There's the heroic entrance. This is gonna hit in time. It does not hit in time to save the Wukong, and he's in a backdrop, a big backstep, in a little bit of a trouble there. Mel also looking to go down to the grave with her teammates, and just another 3 kills for team only forward. Only forward is the direction that we want to go there.
At this point, it's not only forward, it is the forward way. Like, they are playing in this appropriate pick style, which Team Urk are actively giving over. We watched that Otacon fight. It was a last-ditch effort from Colton to try and steal away. You knew your life was forfeit, and Backstep still decided to go in, which I really don't agree with. I understand you want to use a grand entrance, but no one else was following through. It was just going to be you, which suctioned in the rest of the team. It suctioned in Mel to try and help out. Would have been better just to sacrifice Colton, go for the seal. If it didn't work, it didn't work at the end of the day. For only forward, though, it's more gold. We went from 3K to 1K, now back up to about 5K in their favor, with Soul just on the board in about a minute, which you can go back and spend 2.5 items for every single player on that only forwards team. And Team Urk are looking less and less sure that their late game comp will be available in the late game.
Yeah, So what do you think is Team Urk's win condition here? You know, it's so hard now that we've got a 5-1 Jinx. It's so hard to get on her, as well as the charm that have been landing pretty consistently. Oh, there's a
God.
shockwave. Is Poppy gonna be able to live? But she's quite tanky, not quite able to get that full damage. But Orianna's going out. There's the Keeper's Verdict. Able to hit the Ori, only gets the minions. Poppy in a dire situation here. A couple of health, but that is it. That is the end of Poppy's run against that Orianna there. Very exciting.
What Team Urk needs to do? Find a way for Poppy to lane successfully. This is not good right now. Poor Poppy. I love my Yordles. I love my Yordles. Poppy is so weak right now. I feel really bad because that is your main tank. That's your main source of disengagement there. With the steadfast presence, you're able to utilize that in tow. But if you're fighting against Mighty Kraus, who is 3-1-6 right now, able to chew through your HP like butter, you don't have a good front line, and all of a sudden that leaves backstep alone. For Team Urk, you want them to be able to group up. You want a full 5v5. You want to be able to body block. I just don't think you have the HP for it.
Rush. Oh, the Spirit Rush and the Flash coming out from the Orianna, as well as the Hero's Entrance. The Golden Eclipse doesn't do quite enough damage, but it doesn't matter. There's Colton onto the Ari, and another kill for Wukong onto the Jinx. Their backline is gone, and the only forward is only going backwards. That is it for the Vi. Vi going to try to get a little bit more damage onto the Poppy, but there comes the Shockwave, and Poppy is down. 1 kill for Vi, but can they turn this around? They have no more teammates left. It is a 2v4. They're gonna have to give up the dragon. There's a flash taunt onto the Vi. She is dead. Meteor. Goodbye, cease and desist. Goodbye, Vi. And that is the first drag for Team Urk. This is what they needed. This is it. This is exactly what they were looking for and exactly what they needed at this critical time. What did we just see?
You watched Only Forward walk in one by one. That's all they did. They walked in one by one. They didn't respect that Team Urk can group up. We mentioned that Team Urk are a really good group up team fight squad. They brought 4v1 in 3 different rounds there. And you just watched Only Forward walk away their lives. You have to respect that Team Urk, even if they're behind, they can still bring out the damage. They were only 4 to 5k behind, and it now is close to under 1,000. Huge dub by Team Urk to find a fight back. They have stolen that dragon away, and if they can do it again, if Only Forward do not respect the damage output, it's going to be a problem come the Baron in just about 20 seconds.
Yeah, and they're able to stop this soul push from Only Forward, which stalls the game out just a little bit more for them to scale just a few more minutes before, you know, a potential end of game, which is great for them considering their team comp. Orianna looking to chase by Orianna. She's not able to get a kill. Or Team Urk not able to get that kill, but looks like they're scaring them off as the Baron is spawning. Potential pickup for Team Urk here if they want to go for the Baron, but Atrix is doing a great job split pushing, and Galio is looking to match.
I really do think 5 billion is going to be kind of that savior at the end of the day. Just keep splitting up Team Urk, try and get that damage down, and then take the towers as well. For Only Forward, as long as they don't fight in 1v4 positions, they're fine. I like this Baron call. No one's really in position. Colton is in range. They need to chew through it a little bit faster here. I am worried about the re-engagement here.
Yeah, Poppy has Keeper of the Verdict, so if she decides to go in, then a TP on Team Urk, and that is not enough. Keeper of the Verdict is not able to come in on time, but they are going to engage. The cycle coming out.
Shockwave!
Backdrop. Looking almost dead, but Colton is going to find his grave there, and Jinx is excited. There's the Shockwave and the Hero's Entrance, not enough, and Mel gonna have to flash there. Sivir looking in a rough out of where, and Jinx picks up many kills there, and that is a double kill for our Ari here. Looks like Only Forward finding their step once again. Vi, are we gonna go under tower? We're gonna go under tower, the Ari? No, it doesn't seem to be the plan there.
That is the right way to do it. Only Forward group up for Baron. They scatter when the fight comes out, and critically, Mighty Kraus lands a 3-man shockwave to stall out Team Urk. Gave time for 5 billion to get back in, and it destroyed Team Urk's momentum. Really, really well played. They get Baron on 5, and they say, perfect. This is how we want to win. For Team Urk, you did what you could. You tried to jump in. It was a little bit of a lackluster grouping, but you had to try something against the Baron, so I respect it. It just fell apart. For Only Forward, you are right back in the driver's seat. Dragon up in 2 minutes. You can look at the inhibitors first for about a minute, and then set up for that dragon at the end. This is fine-tuned for Only Forward. As long as they stay in this position and well aware of where Team Urk is, they will be okay to close out this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a fast one on the team for only forward. Looks like their strategy is working. You know, we've got the Ari and the Orianna both have both buffs as well as that Baron buff. They could push real fast. We've already seen Aatrox being that hyper split pusher here, and with the Baron, he's going to be pretty much unstoppable at this point. You know, he doesn't have so many kills, but look at his items. You know, he's tanky. He's going to be doing that damage. Look at that CS lead that he has on the Poppy. He's really going to be that team, that rock forward team, only forward here.
Yeah, this is I I give him maybe another 5 minutes, I think, for only forward. Their strength in numbers is huge. And then you also look at Minecraft, who's 4-1 and 10. It is out of this world. Already just went back. Still has to complete the Saracen Embrace. That is ridiculous. I hate you so much for that. But it is almost completed at the end of the day. You are going to field a massive amount of damage. So only forward, they're getting their strong points online. And Rima, 3.5 items now, able to start shredding through opponents. This is going to be destructive around this dragon.
Oh, and there's the Cyclone. The Hero's Entrance coming in. Spirit Rush has to come out. Unstoppable under the charm comes down, and there is Colton gone. Poppy going for the Orianna. But the Orianna is gone as well. Mel looking bad for the black backstep. Looking, and only Poppy is here to save the team and is unable to finish and hold the dream of Team Urk alive there.
Wonderful job at the end of the day. That is how you clean it up. Once again, it was a last-ditch effort. Colton, who has been so strong in a lot of these engagements. We said the Wukong is a powerful jungler if you get that right moment. Yet it just wasn't enough for the rest of the team. And now Rima can push down the towers. Looks like an open base. I want the rest of the team to group up. Help Rima clear out this game. But no, they're going for the safe play. Might as well go comfortably into this victory screen.
Yeah, you know, this Jinx has really, got scaled up so far. They were not able to shut down the Jinx in the early game with the ganks from Wukong and the Galio. So she's kind of gotten a little bit out of hand. Maybe we don't even need to look at the Aatrox anymore. We should be looking at this Jinx and what she's doing to the backline and the front line of Team Urk here. She's 8-2, 450 gold. She's got her IE. She's got her Yuntals. She's working on her 4th item, Lord Doms, it seems like. She's going to be a powerhouse. We already seen her as a powerhouse. The most kills on Team Forward here.
We'll see if that changes anytime soon for Urk. You have one last chance. I feel like you have one last chance to do something before the whole game collapses around you. That's what we're going to be watching for. I feel it has to come through with Colton, but backstep needs to be right behind with the Poppy as well. They need to ensure that they are grouped up and pull the Wombo combo off. If they do, that could be a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're going to be pushing. They've still got Baron for a little bit, for 1 minute and 1.5 minutes left. So they're going to be trying to push as much as they can. You know, most of Team Urk is on the bottom side here, looking at the Aatrox. Will they be able to get a pick here? I don't know, but Poppy's looking a little out of position. Vi maybe potentially looking to go in there, but there's backstep. Oh, going on to the inhib. I don't think Poppy's all alone. I don't think she's going to be able to hold it by herself here.
She is able to kind of put their own in position. I wonder if that's going to be any big change there. I apologize. I think might have had a little bit of a tech, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Either way, it feels like this game. Okay. I think we're good though. I think this might mean it might be an end. I don't know if we had a little change happen, but this looks like that end. Let's go ahead and go to our faces real quick. And we have gotten word, at least, Lawyer, we have gotten word that it was team only forward to come up with the victory. So as he said, maybe not the end just with the Poppy, but close enough, right? The rest of the team back
Yeah.
them up.
It does seem like their fate was sealed. We saw how the game was going towards the last couple minutes. We saw, the way the direction of the game was headed. Seems like they were able to follow through and fall the Nexus. So, congratulations to Team Only Forward. Kind of an unexpected win. I wasn't sure. I really enjoyed Team Urk's draft. So, with this Only Forward draft working, who knows what we'll see in the next coming games from them.
Yep, we'll see how it goes. Right now, though, we are excited for game number 3 of the group stage to follow on through. So we will go to a short break when we come back for round 3 and more games ahead to see more teams play in this matchup. We'll see how the rankings also shake out at that time, so please don't go anywhere. Reina's Kingdoms tournament will continue in just a bit. Off we go. One more game of the group stage, and I'm excited to see what shakes out. Our standings have been immaculate so far, and the games have been thrilling. And Lori, hopefully your voice is holding on because you have been getting hype in a lot of these matches.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because we're looking at the drafts and we're going, oh, I think this draft is going to be better versus this draft. And our expectations are being completely blown out of the water, especially with last game. We saw, we talked about Team Urk having the better draft. They've got that back line, they've got that front line, they've got the engage. And yet they fell to Team Only Forward, whose strategy was go in and we're not coming out until we get those kills. So has been a really exciting tournament. I'm excited. We're going to see some teams that we saw before in the first round that we casted. First, we have Team Evolutions, and now we're going to see someone that we haven't seen before, Team Alorum. This is going to be really interesting since we kind of know we've gotten to know a little bit of Team Evolutions. We saw Rek'Sai, White Snow on the Rek'Sai, and now we're going to see some newcomers here on Team Alorum. What do you think the matchup is going to kind of look like?
I think it's going to be do or die because Team Alorum are currently 0-2, so they need to step on up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings real quick. Group A, right now, Team Only Forward, the only team that is 2-0, Team Cupid and Team Urk are both sitting at 1-1, and Team Only 35 sitting at 0-2. In Group B, we have Team Fat Pussies. I hate saying that name, gosh, dang it. 2-0, Team Evolutions and Triton both sitting at 1-1, and surprisingly, Team Alorum at 0-2. The reason I say surprisingly, this is one of the first times where we've actually seen groups be exactly even in terms of how the scores have worked out here. It is a 2-0, 1-1-1-1, and then 0-2. Granted, this is probably the most standard way a group stage will break out.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting, especially as we're going to go into draft here. I wonder if we're going to see some of it is Fearless, so we're not going to be able to see the same champions that we saw
Yep.
previously with Team Evolutions. That's going to be very exciting. We'll see if they're going to try to go for the same strategy that they had last time, but looks like they're going to pick up the Yunara first. That's an exciting pick. She is the newest champion here. She's great in a team fight. She's got those bounces. She's been very strong recently, so I wonder what Alorum is going to kind of pick in response to that.
Definitely not Zahen. We're not playing all new champions, so no, that is not going to happen there. For those that might not know, Zahen has been disabled for this tournament as it was only released about a week ago. We don't allow that, even though money's on the line. Actually, especially because money's on the line. Yunara opening, though, as you said, has been nerfed a little bit, but still has a lot of that late game prowess. So I like that it is being locked in here. Gives a lot of credence over to that ADC role. For Alorum, though, going with the range factor. Now, again, we've seen mages be utilized in both the mid APC position plus the support role, so this is a three-way flex depending. But for Team Alorum, I assume this is going to go into that bottom lane. It feels a little bit safer there.
I love the Lux pick. I'm not even gonna lie, she is my main, I have to admit. So I'm excited to see the Lux here. We've got the paired with the Wukong. I mean, if she can get vision down and control the board with her binding, it's just incredibly strong to be able to one-shot, especially with the Yunara on the other team. That's gonna be her target. She's gonna be looking for those picks onto Yunara. She's not the most mobile ADC. She's got a couple little dashes here and there, and when she pops her ultimate, she's got a little bit more. But early on, she's gonna be pretty susceptible to those bindings. And we saw Wukong last time. He's a great engager to be able to get with his clone and the Cyclone onto the backline. So I quite like it. Ooh, the Yunara Shinzao, that is a canonical, group pairing right there. What do you think about that?
Outside of the canonical moments there, I think Xin Zhao is a great denial. Again, it will block a little bit of the Lux damage, but overall, I think it's a great challenge to the Wukong. Crescent Guard provides a lot of safety for the Yunara to still get away, knock back everyone but your intended target. Is it going to be enough, though, is a whole different question. We've seen Xin Zhao's wane a little bit in the damage aspect, unless you get a good steamroll early, and this is a lot of we need to jump on the targets. So I really do hope Evolutions, considering they're sitting here at a 1-1 stance, they want a better standing point. I need to see them get active. Xin Zhao is great for it, but target that bot side, get the Yunara ahead, ensure a safe and steady mid to late game.
Yeah, Eunora's just strong carry for their team. Picking up that Karma, I think that's going to be a support Karma. I like that team. There's going to be that poke. Karma's always very, very strong, especially early with her availability on her ult. It's going to be a really nice early game in the bot lane. I wonder what they're going to challenge with the ADC. They could potentially go like an APC here if that's what they're looking to do. But, you know, we have seen in our previous games, APC hasn't been working out too well. Actually, Armel has been 0-2 in the 2 games that we've seen so far, so that could be a little bit of a curse. Oh, and a Lulu here. Do you think this
Ooh.
is Lux mid or is this Lux ADC?
If it's Lux ADC, I'll be surprised. Lulu immediately screams auto attack champion. That's what it always does. There is no world where you pair a Lulu with any sort of APC. It just doesn't synergize as well. The reason that we saw the Nami is because the the empowered abilities, procs off of that. For Lulu, it's all auto attack speed. So that's what I would expect. If that's an ADCZ, I'm going to laugh my butt off. And if that's a Lux in the APC role, I'll be even more. I don't know what's going to happen at this point. If it's a Lulu, though, I would have hoped for like a Yumi. Like, screw all that. Put a Yumi in there. That would have been better.
We've been wrong before. It could be Wukong top, Zed jungle.
No, no,
Again,
no, no,
we
no.
might be able to see
You've
that
never
again.
been wrong. I've been wrong like 9 times out of 10 so far. That's what's happened.
I've been in the just to clarify for the audience, we did have a little team swap. It is actually Team Evolutions on the Lux, Wukong, Lulu, Zed, and Team Alorum on the Yunara, Shinzao, Karma, and the Akali. I like this Akali pick. You know, they're kind of front to back with that Yunara, Shinzao, and the Karma, but with the Akali, they'll have easier access to the back lane, to the Lulu, and into the Ornn. It's not Ornn jungle. It can't be Ornn jungle, but that would be really funny to see here. Yeah, I like it. I love a good Ornn. He's got great utility for the team.
It would be wild to see. The Xin Zhao still feels a lot more comfortable in that jungle role, but I do agree if you want to flex, you can put the Xin Zhao maybe into the mid to try and counter. Okay.
And there's the Gwen to round out Team Evolution's very interesting comp here. We're looking at it, and I'm trying to figure out, is this Zed ADC? Is this Lux APC with that Lulu? Is it Lulu jungle?
God.
No way it's Lulu jungle, but
Give me,
you never
give me
know.
Machine Gun Lulu again. Give me Machine Gun Lulu from the days of like season 5. Please bring that stuff back, and I'll be so happy. That's all I'm gonna say there.
Well, you know, this is going to be a very exciting match. We've got something a little bit more standard in Team Alorum as we get into game here versus some comps that have been pretty unconventional. And so far, these unconventional comps have been doing fairly well. We are in game here. Again, just have to note, the game map looks incredible. I love it this year. It's been really great, especially with the item changes. The pots look great. We're going to have a great start. And as you guessed, it is Zed ADC with that Lulu. Very interesting pick. I wonder what was going through their heads there. And into the Lux mid with the Akali here. What an interesting matchup. They don't have a backline. What is going to happen here?
So, okay. Of the 3 choices that Team Evolution's could have gone for, I feel like I feel like this like the Zed was the appropriate choice. And to be perfectly clear, we've seen a little bit of a shift. We see Arbiter over there in the mid, which I believe Sachaya was mid last time that we saw them. So there's been a bit of a rotation, bringing that Zed into that bot side role. I don't disagree with it. What I do see as a little functional problem is you're running that first strike, which means you have to constantly attack first, which is difficult to reach a Yunara and a Karma. This is going to be painful, but you are waiting for that wild growth. I think you're really hoping for that polymorph wild growth combo to give time for Sachaya to actually reach into that backline to catch that kill. But until you hit level 6, you're pretty much down in CS and down in overall damage output.
Yeah, I will note that although it looks like on the side that Zed is bot lane, we're seeing actually the Lux in the bot lane with Lulu, and Zed is going to go against the Akali there.
I'm so done with this. I'm so done with all of this. Like, I
It could
don't
be
want
a
to.
little bit of
Why?
switch up here. A big damage for the Karma RQ, empowered Q there. You know, I love the Lux. I've played her APC. She's very mana hungry, which is going to be a big
Yeah.
problem. You know, Karma's just going to be able to spam those abilities, and Lux is going to have to pick and choose what she wants to do here. There we go. We've just fixed it just a little bit. We had that Lux in the bot lane versus that Yunara Karma there. We're not even 3 minutes in, and they're trading half their health for a couple of minions here. Very aggressive team there, which is exactly what Yunara and Karma want to do, honestly.
Yeah, shout
How
out
do you
to our
see this
producer
panning out?
Icefire Ride, by the way. I just want to point that out there. I didn't name him by accident in the roll call for all the production side. That's on me. But Icefire Ride on the production side.
Very interesting. So we do have Sachaya back in the mid lane against this Akali. But again, I see the problem of they don't really have an ADC to kind of pick up that damage as the fights go long. They're kind of in, out with those short trades that they're really great at, that Zed's really great at. Lux is going to be able to get that burst down. But once they're out, that's when Yunara really can shine and Akali can go in, and that's when the damage is lacking there. So how do you kind of see this playing out as the team goes into team fights and out of laning phase?
I don't see it playing at all as a problem. That was a lot of damage there. And this is one of those moments where I say, no matter what you do, you're going to be put into a rough spot. I think for Team Aloran, they're actually really happy about the current matchup with that bot side. Angel Boy and Executioner Ken, they're saying this is great. On the top side, though, Aloran is kind of getting locked down here.
Ooh, is able to get another snip, not able to snip the Ornn from his life. Gets out with his life there. And the bot lane is also going really going full damage onto each other. They're fighting a ton, but looks like each of the junglers are going to get a scuttle. Not going to be another scuffle for the scuttle there. Akali getting a little bit of a ward there. Maybe we see a potential dive here from Arya onto White Snow. Is it White Snow? No, it's Aloram in the top lane looking to go with White Snow, but he's going to back off here. Oh, and there goes, there comes the clone out, but great knockup by Aloram. Arya unable to get that kill. Are they going to try for another time? The wave is going to push in a little bit. White Snow has been very clean on the Gwen so far. Gwen very good into the Ornn, and that is first blood onto the Wukong. Oh, and the tower gets Gwen, and that's a 1-for-1 trade. Aloran coming out with a little bit of a comeback there, a posthumous kill. Good for him, the 1v1 there.
I feel like he could have flashed, but White Snow didn't want to expend the flash for fear of a return fire gank. So you say, okay, if Aloram didn't flash, I don't flash. We just eat that one. We still get first blood. Not the worst in the world. It's still dangerous, though. I feel like if Aloram can go 50-50 in this lane matchup, you're actually really happy. And especially since the kill didn't go to White Snow, you're even more happy. You're going to keep farming up. You're going to still feel okay in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. I do think it's a little bit of a harder matchup for Ornn here. You know, Gwen eventually is going to get really, really great at shredding the Ornn, especially if you can get the EQ combo out. Karma going to try to go in with the Rune. The tether doesn't go quite out, but that is a ton of damage. Akali going to go in, and that is a kill for Akali under the mid lane turret. Got nowhere to go. Zed is just gone in one instant. Great kill for the Akali there.
Yeah, Sachaya, I mean, you got routed right there. That was a level 5 versus level 6. Really nicely timed by Reppy, knowing exactly what time was what, and it's highly appropriate to go all in there. The assassins in the mid lane are going to start exploding in terms of snowball potential, and both teams have to be worried about that one. More so for Evolutions, as Reppy is going to be looking for those fresh kills on the side lanes.
Oh, Angel Boy gets that slow onto our Lulu. A little bit of a big damage chunk. Reppy going back in, just demolishing Chaya in the mid lane. But maybe Wukong can come here to save his mid laner. We're going to see a little bit of a scuffle in the mid lane. It seems like both junglers are kind of hovering, wanting to make sure that their mid lanes stay safe there. But the drag is up. Wukong and Shinzao are both looking to potentially get the first drag and get a little head start to this game.
Yeah, another jump in though. Reppy seeing the opportunity. Oh,
is that another kill in the mid lane? Doesn't seem quite like it, but it is going to force Sachaya back into, I don't know how to pronounce her name, so sorry, back into base there. Ooh, and Shinzao looking to go for the Wukong, very aggressive, but both bot laners are about half health here. A little scary, Arya going in, unable to hit the binding from Lux there. Looks like they're going to be able to live and get out of there scot-free. A little bit of a scuffle. There comes the needlework. A flash from Aloram saves his life there, I think. The slow is just so strong from the needlework.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. It's a walk down position. If you get hit by all 3 procs of that needlework, even though you have the Ornhorn, you can't allow that damage to go through. You need time to kind of build up your HP back. Now you have the Ornhorn, the Call of the Forge God. If you can, and maybe you call it here.
There's the Call of the Forge God. Is he gonna be able to hit it? Oh,
Oh,
and he misses it. White Snow able to live. Wow, there's the Q out. Oh, and Unstoppable is getting close one.
Auto.
Oh my god, and that is feats of warfare for Ornn there. Lorem clutching up with that last auto, even after missing Call of the Forge God. If he can do that without Call of the Forge God, imagine what he can do with Call of the Forge God.
That was by far the worst fight I've ever seen, but it still works at the end of the day. Missed ults, horrible stuff happening. That was hilarious. But shout out to Alorem, 2-1-0, as we mentioned before, getting forced down in the lane. So it is a win, as we said. Feat of warfare for themselves, and now it's Angel Boy.
Ooh, there's the polymorph.
I want to be there.
Oh, gets hit by the rune. There comes Final Spark. Barrier comes out, was able to save Angel Boy's life, but they are 1 HP. There's a flash. Karma able to get the kill onto the Lulu, but I think that's forfeit for Karma's life. Executioner Ken going to be the execution knee. The Arbiter looking, but he flashes and he's not able to get the kill. Lux, what are you doing? They're able to survive on the last inch of their life there. Luck is on their side today.
That was not luck. I give credit to Angel Boy and Executioner Ken. They knew exactly what they were doing. They sidestepped everything. They knew the timer for a lot of those abilities, which is leaving Sachaya out to dry.
Sachaya looking a little bit worse for wear, and he is down one more time to Reppy, dominating that lane, getting a second kill. And now it's Alorem versus Arbiter. Another challenger, great unstoppable there. Alorem looking mighty scary this game already.
Yeah, I think for Alorem, the big part, it doesn't matter about the kills, the gold, it doesn't mean much on tanks. It means you're a little bit tankier, but it doesn't do much in damage aspect. What you are happy about is the level gain. You are currently the highest level in the game compared to almost everyone else. Reppy's the only one matching, but that means you get the ornaments online faster.
Ooh, looks like a little bit of a gank from Arya, but it doesn't matter. Reppy's out of there already. The electrocute comes out. Big damage onto Arya. Arya rethinking that gank right now. Alorem, you know, just farming up, doing his thing, but we are going to see that they're going to look for this dragon. Is unable to get there in time. Noctis getting the drag. First dragon onto the team. Alorem there. Great little sneaky drag there.
I like it. You go ahead and start things up, and for Team Alorem, considering this team has been 0-2 the entire group stage, I kind of watched them and it felt like they just weren't getting the value out of some of these early kills, and I like the fact that they have moved into this position of, we just want kills. We're going full solo queue. We're going to fight for our own lives, and we're going to make it work each time. Alorem's still a little bit shaky off this Ornn matchup, but you're against the Lux. You're against Spartan, who is Arbiter. Not the worst matchup. You can freely miss the ability, still clear the wave, and still get a lot of XP up.
I will say that Lux is tickling the Ornn, taking no damage from the Q, from the E. But what's really exciting is this mid lane here. Reppy looking a little bit in a bad position. Gets hit by one of the shurikens. But no death mark from Zed. It seems like he used it earlier in the fight, so that's out of the question. And perfect execution is coming up quite soon if he wants to stay in lane. There's Noctis looking for that Zed kill. Ooh, a little bit of a BM. He hits the Q in there. Oh, in the shadow is not enough to save Zed's life. And he is 0-3. White Snow getting a little bit of ganked. Getting some of the bot laners to tickle him just a little bit. Just a random turret shot onto Ken. All right. If that's what he wants, or I'd be able to dodge that binding. They're doing a little bit of a lane swap here.
Yeah, this is the general standard, I think, especially when you see the Yunara and the Karma up on the top side. Whoever lane swaps first is usually answered on the other side. However, you understand that for Arbiter and Yulu, you don't get to actually match up. So instead, you just move out of that bot side. You look for a different punch, especially against Reppy, who has been so dominant in that mid lane. You're just looking to find ways to get more plates, find ways to get more damage on those towers in any way necessary, even if you had to sacrifice other lane matchups. So at the current moment, it's all on Team Alorem to decide where these pressure points go.
It is back to Ornn and Gwen with a really unexpected damage from that Ornn auto coming out. How do you see this game playing as we get into more of the middle to late game?
I am expecting Team Alorem to start rotating for those global objectives. Dragon is up in about 3 minutes. I think Team Alorem just play this nice and steady game, let Reppy stay in almost this 1v1 status. They've been winning against Sachaya very, very heavily. I think for Team Alorem, you want to keep the status quo. You don't want to allow Arya and the rest of the team to get in your way. So play the smart game of calmly set up our lane states, calmly set up vision, look for those global objectives and play it nice and slow. Don't give opportunity for evolutions to find a way back into the game.
Gotcha. How is the Akali Zed matchup? Is it a skill matchup or does one have the advantage? I actually don't know because I don't play assassins.
Ooh. So it depends. Technically, it's a skill matchup, but in the current grand scheme, I think Zed loses out just in damage numbers. I don't think Zed has been tuned for a 1v1 aspect, and I think the devs have actually said that assassins are probably the hardest to learn to balance because single numbers can tweak a lot of the kill power. But I will say for an Akali, you have far more accessibility, far more versatility in how you fight, and the damage numbers tend to favor you a bit. So I think it leans a little bit into the Akali, but overall, it's still a skill matchup at the end.
White Snow getting knocked up, but he gets a big damage. This Call of the Forge God. Is he gonna be able to hit it this time? He does not hit it for the second time, but don't worry. Noctis is here to save the day. Needlewear comes out. Is he gonna be able to get the kill under tower? He's chasing. He is not chasing, but Alorum is hungry for that kill. He's gonna get the kill, and he trades his life for the yummy Gwen there.
You know, Alorum, I think, needs to go play ARAM Mayhem. There's an augment called Back to Basics, which you don't need your ult for. Go grab that, because you don't need ult. Yet you're still being able to trade out for kills, which is amazing against a Gwen who wants to scale up as well.
Again, I said it before, if this is what he can do without Call of the Forge God, imagine what he can do with Call of the Forge God. What an interesting Ornn fight. I'm glad Noctis was there to kind of save the day just a little bit, as we did see the needlework was coming out at that very last moment.
I love what's happening, though. Again, for Alorum, who is the captain, to stay in a good pressure and then to see the rest of your team winning out pretty handedly. Noctis is 1-0-1. Reppy is 2-0-0. Yes, Angel Boy and Execution Ken haven't really gotten kills, but they stayed even. That's all you need to do. You need to scale up with the Yunara. You're really happy about this. If you look across the comp outside of White Snow, I think you can say you outscale a majority share of Evolutions who have drafted a much more mid-game centric style. And the consistent damage output is going to lean in Team Alorum's favor as well. So at this point, you don't have to force anything. Forcing is more a benefactor of the early game antics that you have won. If you want to force, you can. The only thing you have to be worried about are these dragon takes, which Evolutions are currently taking one for their own. It's an Infernal. Not great to hand over, but it's only one. I do fully expect Team Alorum to start looking for that soul later on.
Yeah, it looks like Xin Zhao's not going to be quite in the position. The drag's already at 1,700 health. Yeah, that's going to be a free drag. 14 evolutions, which is really what they need. They're going to need to start getting those objectives. Reppy going in, but the binding is going to stop him in his tracks. His perfect execution is going to come off. Is he be able to get a kill? Ooh, and he's got her dash onto Lulu, but is not going to be able to take it in. Alorum looking for the Zed kill right here. Arya stepping quite far up, knowing that there's 3 of them there. Quite an exciting game here. They've been playing pretty aggressive. The tether hits onto Arya, but Lulu's here to back him up. There's the clone. Is the cyclone going to come out? There's the cyclone onto Xin Zhao. Angel Boy is here to save the day. Is Arya going to have to use the flash there? All for just a little scuttle misses the final spark, goes nowhere, and Noctis and Angel Boy are left out with their life.
I think this really came down to the fact that Reppy and Alorum were able to knock the Chai out, so Evolutions didn't have that extra bit of safety that they were hoping to come in and collapse on the fight, so Arya was left out to dry. This was a cataclysm of just weird dominoes that all fell into different directions than what the teams actively wanted, which is why we saw the ult fly a little bit differently, which is why we actually saw no one go down in the most pivotal exchange just outside of the Dragon Pit. It was weird, but it was wild and funny all the same. Now, Arbiter's in a rough spot.
Getting caught out just a little bit, has to burn the flash, gets the binding onto the Karma, and looks like that's going to stop them in their tracks. They're not going to be able to find a little bit of kill, and Lulu is back, and now Arbiter is safe, but, you know, at this point, we should just disable ults, because apparently it's doing nothing for either team here.
No, that's
maybe Karma just a little bit.
We're gonna get banned from the server, Lori. We're gonna get banned from the server for flaming him too much.
Getting some damage on, but you know, the Lux is out of mana. She's gonna have to back and leave Lulu on her own. Reppy going in, looking very aggressive. There's the shadow from Zed. Notice that Reppy is up and misses the shuriken. Not the shuriken, misses her E onto the Zed there. Zed is the one who uses shurikens.
Yep. Time to move. I'm excited to see what gets thrown down here. This is going to be a whole different story on the side, though, because we've gotten to the point where we've lost the towers, right? We started working through some of those towers. We're going to see a lot of that space opened up much more. And this is where things get messy, considering we've seen such weird exchanges between both teams where things go wide, right? Ultimate's going wide, no one's really around. We're getting to that point where if you miss an ult, it can actually mean a lot of deaths around the board,
Ooh,
which is what you
great
have to be worried
damage
about.
from Sachaya. Deathmark going in. Is he able to get Reppy? Reppy going out. One more flash. Not able to quite get Reppy there. Very, very close as it has to burn that Shadow Dash. Ooh, Alorum taking, that was a great, I don't know if we saw that coin on camera, but we saw Alorum take the portal back into his base and getting out from that, a little pinch from the Lulu and the Wukong there. But, you know, this has been really very fast-paced game. We've seen a lot of fights, a lot of engages, kills back and forth. You know, even though Evolution's down on kills, they've also got one drag, so they're not lacking in objectives in that aspect. That might be their win con here, is to kind of go for the objective plays.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. Just try and play around those objectives. Try and get a little bit of more macro-centric styles in your favor, and look to pick up from there. You can always get kills off of bad rotates. I think is a very big win con that a lot of people don't respect a lot of the time. If you keep forcing macro, someone's gonna get caught out. That's just kind of how the game falls apart, and how you get away from getting caught out is its own kind of story. So I love the fact that you called it out. Start looking at those global objectives, maybe look at lane rotations, and see what you can get from there. However, with only a 200 gold difference between the two, it's dangerous to see what is going to pan out as we look at this mid lane.
Yeah, the Lorum's lurking in that bush, and maybe he's looking to do another Call of Forge God. You know, third time is the charm, maybe. The Riptail didn't go on. Get that charge off. Shelly is looking to maybe go for that one. There's the Call of Rip God. It does hit two. Arbiter's looking to go down, but the Wild Growth comes out, and Arya seems to be the sacrificial lamb here. Angel Boy getting there, and there's the two DPs, but it's not going to matter. White's now going to try to chase. It doesn't even matter.
That's a huge win for the side as the laser actually crosses over on the back side of Noctis. But for Team Alorum, you get almost triple the amount that you were expecting. Not only do you get mid tower off of that Herald charge, but you get the kill behind. You get a second charge because Evolutions were so focused on trying to get a kill back that you knock down a decent chunk of the damage in that mid lane inner tower. On top of that, on the top side, Reppy gets freedom to look for another tower plus farm. So a 2-lane cross-map angle that has yielded a ton of results for Team Alorum.
Yeah, we see third Drake coming up. It looks like the teams want to both fight for this. You know, this will be both their second drags. No matter who gets this, Ken potentially looking out of position. Sachaya going in. There's the polymorph, and that is just Ken gone. And the TP is going to come out. And immediate light binding into Final Spark onto Reppy. Immediately 1/3 HP. This is looking not so great for Team Alorum. No Call of the Forge God to bail them out, and the Needlework comes out, but misses every single time. What is going on with these ults this game? And there's the B. A little bit of a BM from Yulu.
Yulu has to. Yulu's on a Lulu of all things and just saying, I want to play too. And they are doing quite well. 0-1-1 for themselves has kept a lot of people alive. You gotta BM where you can. This is also the fun part, by the way. This is a community tournament by Raina and giving space for a lot of these players, the community members, to show their stuff. Obviously, a lot of them have communities of their own, a lot of following, a lot of I guess, fame to their name for certain reasons. So the fact that we get to see them in all the highs and all the lows, with ults, by the way, I love that we do get to see that here today. Either way, enjoy yourselves, and if BM is there, BM is there. As White Snow is about to get BM'd on.
Looking for a little bit of a 1v1, but Arya here, but at the same time, they are taking the Otacon, so Reppy's gonna use his life to kind of try to stall for that Otacon, but they are a bit of a slow taker, only a 7,000. Looks like they're gonna bail out of this and give Ryo to Evolutions. They're just gonna take this Otacon. Ooh, another TP for Alorum. 2,000, Otacon going down, and there's a Call of Forge God. Red team isn't able to get the Otacon. Gets Arya. Arya's looking a little worse for wear. Is he going to be able to get out? I don't think he's going to be able to. Alorum with the bunk onto the Wukong, giving him his own taste of his own medicine there, while the rest of his team gets to get out of there with only Reppy down.
Would you say that was a mega bonk at the end of the day? If you're not chronically on Twitch,
I would.
I don't know if you've seen that game.
You know, I would. I'm surprised. Like, I was expecting, there's so much damage on his autos that I keep expecting him I keep expecting to hear the Heartsteel clang but he doesn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
Heartsteel.
That is surprising. We actually haven't seen Heartsteel on any top laners, I think, so far. It's been a lot more bruiser heavy, so it makes
Ooh,
sense
and there's
though.
an
Again,
upgraded item
Alorm is
for the
huge.
Yunara.
Yeah, they are giving so much extra gold, so much power right now that Alorm is pretty much a bonk machine in their own right. So this is where Team Alorm are gonna start stepping a little bit farther ahead. I think of Team Evolutions. Evolutions, they're sitting at a point where they didn't get the lead that they wanted early. They're losing out in the global pressure, and they're not finding the solo kills because Repi is so dang strong right now. Yes, we're seeing Sachai have a lot of extra farm in their bank, but it's not making up for the kill difference, for the itemization difference at the current moment. So for Evolutions, their windows of opportunity are closing very quickly.
Yeah, what I think is interesting though is despite how much pressure Team Alorem has and control over the game, even and how many more kills there are, 5 kills, Team Evolutions is still up in gold. Granted, it is very, very close, about 200 gold, but you
Mhm.
know, somehow they've been keeping their gold lead, and if they can keep trying to farm and scale and getting that damage, especially with that Gwen who is starting to chunk that Orin out of his health bar, you know, this could turn in an instant. It's never over for these elo players. It's never over until it's over,
True.
until they're at the Nexus, you know.
100%. I mean, we've even seen things happen at the Nexus where we just are left gobsmacked. But
Or
I
we
do
don't
think
see it because the stream
yeah.
crashes.
Oh, okay. Don't. No, no. We're not throwing ice under that one. That's a Rito moment right there. But I do agree. It is one of those moments where we might not see it. We might not see it coming even. But Repi and White Snow actually going at it. I don't think White Snow wants it. But with Ari in the back pocket, this could yield way better results.
Yeah, Alorem looking to see a 1v1 maybe? Oh, Arya going on to Repi. Where's the Cyclone? Where are you gonna go? Executioner Ken here to kind of save his teammate there. But Repi is down quite a lot of health. Another bonk going out from Arya. You're a little far, White Snow. Ooh, and another
Oh,
knock-up, and that is
so
a kill for Arya onto Executioner Ken. There's a polymorph, and there is nothing Repi can do as a little bunny.
Yulu coming around with the sneaky support action there. We talked about, even though you don't really have an ADC, hey, you can still work with that wild growth and the polymorph. You can do a lot of work. Now in enemy jungle though, so Chai might be in a bad
Oh,
spot.
here's the Call of the Forge God number 4, and it doesn't hit! Oh no, Sachaya's finding his moment of opportunity, gonna take the blast cone out, and he is out there. What is going on this game?
That was poor Lauren being absolutely crossed up in
I
there.
think
That
he was
was
expecting the shadow dash. I think he was
he
expecting the shadow
was.
to come out. Maybe, you know, it's the bell curve, right?
Might be there, might be there. However, we are watching Team Evolution start to get a little bit better handle. As I said,
Ooh,
now breaking
there's the
into a
double
4K
TP
lead
from
as a
each
side.
team. Alorem, Arya getting caught down. Noctis going for the kill there, and Sachaia looking a little bit caught out as well, but Arbiter there to back him up. Ooh, and here's the Gwen White Snow, and there's the Death Mark onto Repi, but Repi able to get out. Vital Spark comes out, doesn't able to hit.
Oh!
Sachaia getting the kill onto Repi, and that is 1 kill down. Arbiter going to go for the flash, but Noctis is on Arbiter's butt there. Gwen in the middle of the team is able to get out. He has so much healing, but it's not going to be enough. Noctis getting that double kill, and poor Lulu is running for her life, but she's a hard Yordle to catch, so she's able to live while the rest of her team goes down.
Well, the fact that you lived is because you weren't even in the fight to begin with. You were near the dangers there. It was Sachai actually winning out in a 1v1, but the rest of the team trying to help out, and Team Alorem takes advantage of the fact, take 3 kills versus 2, turn straight over towards that dragon, and even things up. Main thing is it's a Hextech Soul to play for, which is a very, very direct buff to your damage output with attack speed, with that ability haste, and if you get the soul, slowing power. One of the names of the games here has been trying to catch your opponent. You get that Hextech Soul, you get the ability to send lightning procs to slow down your opponent every other auto attack. It's crazy damage output for Team Alorem or Evolutions, depending on who grabs their 4th Drake.
So what you're telling me is that Ornn's bonk is gonna become even more bonkier.
Yes. then it's like throwing 4 hammers after the initial hammer hit. It's really, really rough to deal with. You ever played Super Mario? That's what it is. It's just watching the hammers fly.
Gotcha. But it looks like a little bit of this jungle skirmish. Zed is nowhere to be seen, so this is a 5v4 right now. Arya in a bit of a trouble there. Alorem gonna get the knock-up off onto Arya, and there's a Call of the Forge. Can he hit it again? Number 5, it does get it down onto Arya, and Arya's looking a little bit bad. Needlework comes out. Oh, and Noctis going in, getting the knock of redemption. Maybe looks like no redemption kill for us today.
I'm pretty sure Alorem hit one earlier on Sachaya. We just didn't see the kill. But that's what you want. Alorem, the captain, gets one. It sets up you.
Ooh, and there's the rough, but there's the polymorph. Is enough wild growth comes out. Oh, and Lulu is looking to save her life, is not able to. Sachaya looking to get out of here, but Reppy is mighty sticky. There's the flash, and another auto might be it for Sachaya. Oh, but Sachaya got ankles, breaking them on Reppy, and that is a Baron call for Team Alorem.
I mean, listen, when you get hit by the mittens, it's a rough time, but you got enough bodies to sustain the blows. Will it be over the wall, though? White Snow goes in.
Is this going to be a quadra kill for White Snow? Oh, Arbiter gets one onto Ken, but it looks like White Snow is shredding them down, but Alorem able to get the peel off, and Arbiter looking a little bit scared of Reppy going in, and this is a full control for Team Alorem onto the Baron. This is what they needed. This is what they want. Maybe they'll finally be able to get their gold lead here, and that is another kill for Reppy onto Arbiter.
The gold does not show a dangerous game of the items. That's the main point. As you said, Team Alorem get their first gold lead in a while. By the way, that was like 5K to Evolutions at one point. But for Team Alorem, they have the ornaments. They have a lot of the global pressure. They now have a lot of buffs to their name, and I fully expect them to utilize it. Noctis hasn't died yet. It's 5-0 and 5, an upgraded Black Cleaver as well. Reppy's sitting on top of an upgraded Proto Belt. These are all items and facts that have to be identified. Alorem, the only person that doesn't have an upgraded item, Executioner Ken on the Karma. Once that completes, that's an extra like 2 to 2.5K in your bucket for Team Alorem.
Also notice that we don't have a single stopwatch on Team Evolution, but we do have that Seeker's Arm Guard on Akali for that little bit more of a survivability, especially for such a mobile champion as Akali. That's gonna have great use and great value for the rest of the team to kind of catch up to Akali when she goes into the backline for those kind of team fights here. What is Team Evolution's win con here?
Team Evolution's win con is
a little bit of a hard one.
that's about it. I don't know. I'm really sorry. Like, get a kill, maybe find Reppy, maybe find Angel Point. There's just not many opportunities. You need more damage input. I would say if White Snow was sitting on 3.5, maybe an even level 16 and all, you would have a chance. But right now, the windows of opportunity are basically centered around Team Alorem steps out of focus. They lose their ranking and walk in one by one. That's about it.
Oh, Sachaya looking to get a little bit of flank, but Alorem is on the flank of the flanker there. Sachaya getting caught out, and this is going to be a full-blown fight. The Call of the Forge are going to come in. It misses! And one more time, there's the death mark and the wild growth onto Sachaya. And that is the Seeker's Arm Guard that we were talking about on Reppy. So he's able to get out his and the snipes over the wall. Arya maybe get to turn the fight. The polymorph. Ken looking a little bit down, and he's out of the fight. No. Noctis running for his life, looking, Angel Boy, save me, please. And Arya looks like Angel Boy is going to sacrifice his jungle and miss the final spark and gets the kill. And as well as White Snow gets a blue inhibitor as well. He wasn't even in the fight there. That was a little bit of a massacre on Team Alorem.
Yeah, Team Alorem, they were so focused on the bot side, went a little bit too far, and the fight between Reppy and Sachaya pulled everyone out of order. You saw how far Team Alorem were going just to save their mid laner, which put Executioner Ken and Noctis into a bad spot. Not only that, White Snow completely disregarded the bot lane, didn't go back to help, had TP available, said no, we need more of the macro game under control, which is why we still see that 2K in their favor. Maybe I wasn't respecting it, as now it's a catch as well.
There's a polymorph, she's got nothing she can do, and that is another kill. Team Evolutions is turning this around.
It's the catches. Yet again, I did say the only way Evolutions are going to come back in this game is if Team Alorem kind of walk in one by one and donate kills over. And that's what's happening right now. Not only did Team Alorem fall, they lost the mid tower, they're now going to lose bot, they're now losing the top, they lost the top side inhibitor. Evolutions also get Dragon. It is a 5-punch combo that has destroyed a lot of what Team Alorem has built up, as they are pulled apart at the seams. Team Evolution's massive jump back in their favor.
Yeah, going from that gold lead that Team Alorem got from the Baron to now having almost a 5K gold lead in favor of Team Evolutions. This game is changing fight here. White Snow is really getting online. I would really like to see White Snow kind of joining the team just a little bit to be able to kind of shred through that ore that is kind of their front line for Team Aloran here. A little bit of a scuffle on the scuttle, but it looks like no fights here. Chaya looking to go in, positioning very aggressively, maybe a pinch onto Alorum and Noctis, but it's going to be here in time. It looks like they're just gonna get out of here safe and sound.
Yeah, I mean, you hex that gate in and you say, maybe I can find something. It's not the end of the world. However, there's a catch option. Noctis, if you get spotted, could be dangerous.
Doesn't seem like
Oh, no.
he's spotted here, but they're looking to just clear some of the vision, which is so important for Team Evolutions, as you said before. They really need to get that binding from the Lux onto any of the players, really, to kind of, oh my god, and Alorum is just gonna walk, Sachaya's gonna walk right past Alorum there. There's the call of the Forest God. Oh my god, and he misses again. Sachaya, you know, Sachaya's a hard target to hit. I saw him trying to predict the shadow. It was a close one. It was a close one, but a little slippery in this game.
Yeah, I would say that one, I can't really blame on Alorum. You pick a 50-50, that is a hard one to read. I will say, though,
no
for
vision,
Team Alorum,
that was hard.
yeah, they're sitting here going, hey, things are a little bit rough, though. For Team Alorum, you really don't want to give over the last dragon, but you're recognizing that you're bleeding objectives here, which I didn't respect. Evolutions, I did not respect the fact that they have so much map control is what they have. The individual prowess from White Snow now leads into a 3-item spike. You have Rabadons in favor. This is going to get out of control. And Sachaya is also really good on the split push game as well. So Team Alorum are being drawn into 3 or 4 different directions, and they can't focus fire a single point down, which is Evolution's main strength. So that's what they're going to be trying to do. Team Evolutions will continue to try and pull everyone apart at the seams and sneak a lot of this base taking away. As long as they keep doing that, avoid the team fight, they have a huge window into this game take.
Right, and you see this Lulu kind of sticking onto that Lux wherever there's a fight. Oh, and there's a little bit of a team fight, not able to get the knock-up. Another call of the Forge God. There's one target. Are they going to be able to get him? He goes back in. A nice bait to make him get back into the base. And there's a TP coming out for Team Evolution. Oh my god, they're going to go in. Arya going in with the Cyclone. The clone comes out, and there's the Crescent Guard.
Oh, no.
To save his life, and they are in the base running.
Oh
There's
my gosh.
EQ from the Gwen going to destroy the other team. Oh,
What?
and another 1v1 from Reppy onto the Arbiter. Is going to be able to get it out, and there is the perfect execution onto the Lux. Arbiter cannot live. A perfect kill onto the Akali. Are they going to be able to save the base? That is the polymorph onto Alorum, but Gwen is a tower shredder. And is this the end of Team Alorum? That is the end of Team Alorum. Congratulations, Team Evolution.
What did we just watch, Lori? What did we just watch?
The whole game exploded in the last 5 minutes. We thought it was gonna go one way, and then they just pressed fast forward 5 times, and they went, we're ending this game now. I got lunch, I got dinner plans, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it was. I fully did not respect how much individual gold each person on the side of Evolutions had. Their split pushers, White Snow as well as Sachaya, consistently kept pressure up. White Snow hit the item breakpoints. I was still looking at Team Alorum. They had the right idea. Their composition was there, but they weren't able to utilize the front-to-back team fight, and that's where they faltered. The Unara never got online. Reppy couldn't utilize their early to mid-game wins that they had and got kind of shut down by Arbiter. We have to talk about that one as well. Lorm had the right pieces. They weren't able to make the puzzle, and in that case, the table got flipped on them. Really well done by Evolutions.
Yeah, it was great. We saw Reppy kind of getting caught out just a couple times, but he was able to kind of bail himself out with that smoke, with the Seeker's arm guards that he had. A great play onto Arbiter at the very end there, able to kind of stop that a little bit. But it didn't even matter. We saw Gwen really, scaling up and finally hitting the power spike. And that's exactly what we wanted to see in the early game. That's what we want. That's where the Gwen trajectory is going to go. She's going to be a monster towards the mid to late game, especially into the orange. She's going to be able to shred through his armor, through his fur, through the call of the Forge Gods. And, that last flash EQ was incredible.
And with that, that also means that the group stage is nearly done. I believe we have one more match that is still being finished up, but at the current moment, we can, I believe, show you the standings at this current moment. And as you can see, Group A is fully complete. We have Team Only Forward sitting at 3-0, Team Cupic at 2-1, Team Urk at 1-2, and Team Only 35 is. Oh, I think we have an adjustment in there. Uh, there we go. There we go. Now we have it. Team Only 35 is sitting at 0-3. Very unfortunate for them. Group B is still being finished up, but Team Alorm unfortunately sitting at the bottom of the tables there. So hopefully we get to see them fight out a little bit more in the future.
Yeah, this has been a really, really interesting and exciting tournament. One of the things that people might dislike about pro play is how slow games are played sometimes, just because
Yep.
teams like to play a little bit safe. But with this, we're seeing those unusual comps. We're seeing, these great players who are also your favorite streamers playing their favorite champions with not so much regard towards, what is the most optimal combo and team fight. So this has been super exciting and a really interesting watch.
And hopefully, we get to see even more. However, at the current moment, Lori, we will have to say goodbye to you. You have been a treat to have here on the desk, and we got to give your voice a break because you'll be back on Sunday for the semifinals, which I'm very excited for. Lori, please go ahead to all the viewers that have just come in. Please go ahead and shout out where we can find you across the socials and all.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I love Raina. Thank you for inviting me, Raina, to be a caster here. You can find me at Minnow. That's MINNOWMAO. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, a little bit of Twitter. I'm not usually on there, but I do stream like Raina every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. I will be on streaming after this once I get off and eat a little bit of food. But thank you again for having me. This was so wonderful. I can't wait to be back on tomorrow.
Of course, of course. With that being said, we'll go to a short break. Once all the rounds are completed, we will have the quarterfinals coming up with myself as well as Rist, who will be joining us for our second half of the day. So please don't go anywhere. Reina's Kingdoms tournament for November will continue with bracket play in just a bit. Hello, welcome here. The group stage is done. Placements have been performed, and now we get to see who moves on and who will fall. It is the quarterfinals of the single elimination side of things here with Reina's Kingdoms November tournament. Very, very excited again. My name is Orbital. With me as a new face to the broadcast, but not one to Reina's community. It is Rist who will be joining us for this quarterfinals BO3. Rist, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Orbital, and thank you, Raina, for having me back once again for this exciting November Raina's Kingdom tournament. And I have to say, it's such an enchanting time of the year, right? We have exchanges of gifts, love, gratitude, and most importantly, mayhem, death, and destruction on the wintry map of Summoner's Rift. And I can't believe that I'm here to celebrate it, and not only celebrate, but also cast it as well with a lovely Orbital. It's such a pleasure to be able to work with you again, man. And I'm looking forward to these games too. And the quarterfinals, the bracket of this tournament. We got some returning faces, of course, as well, but some
Yep.
new faces mixed in with the old. I love that combination, and I'm ready for it. Yeah, definitely ready. All right.
All right. Well, listen, you went straight to Christmas, but forgot about Thanksgiving. So let's give thanks to a lot of the teams that have shown up here as we take a look at the bracket. The bracket right now, as it shakes up, shows that it's Team Only Forward versus Team Alorum. Only Forward having won out 3-0 in their group stage. For Evolutions, they're facing off against Team Urk in a number 2 seed versus number 3 seed. It is Fat Pussies, I hate that you ever made me call that name, versus Team Only 35, the, I believe, first seed and fourth seed of their groups. And then the match that we will be watching, Team Cupic going up against Team Triton, the second and third seed, respectively, for their divisions.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to say fat possums, but then looking at it back again, I'm like, I don't think that's correct. Hold on, let me read that again. Fat pousses. Oh, okay. Props
Uh,
on that.
Yeah, yeah. They actually changed that, by the way. That is Team Robbie Bob for those that were watching earlier. They messaged me midway
Ah,
through and they're like, "We want a name change," and I was like, "I hate all of you." That's all I'm gonna say. But looking at this so far, I'm excited to see who moves on and who will fall. So my eyes are drawn to a lot of what will be shown. So let's dive on in. It is Team Cupic versus Team Triton. Game number 1 of this BO3. Now, keep in mind, all of the draft scenarios that we've seen in group stage are now taken away. We don't worry about them. It is fresh. This is full fearless, no bans ahead of us, which means risk. We get all the champions back in play.
And that's awesome too, because you see so many one tricks or champion mains that are known notoriously for certain champions being able to come out of the woodwork and be able to bring these champions to life and showcase to say, hey, this is part of my identity. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it means to main this champion. And I'm going to show you some cool strategies that you may not know otherwise, but you'll learn for the first time getting to see these champions on the stage. And it's always exciting. I'm a one trick myself, as you guys may know already. I main Garen. I love Garen. So anytime a one trick is able to come to life with their championed, cherished champion, it's always
Yep.
always a fun time, always exciting, because you guys get to see some cool stuff you may not see anywhere else.
100%, and we get to see a little bit of a treat here as Team Triton go immediately for the Scion. And as we mentioned before, this is where we get a lot of that meta shifting in there as well. We start to see players actively looking for the stronger champion. Scion's a really good top lane champion if you want to rock out in a more blind pick, play safe style. So I don't dislike it at the current moment. It's what comes afterwards for Team Cupic that I will be very surprised about if they go for what we recognize as now a tank buster, which you have to draft anytime you see a Scion. That's what I'm going to be wondering what they grab.
Yeah, and like a multitude of ADCs have been kind of struggling with those high HP stacking champions because Blade of the Ruined King isn't really as attractive as an option as it used to be,
Yeah.
and they did remove the Giant Slayer passive off Lord Domino's regards. So, it really, they have to be very deliberate about how they're going to choose to handle a Scion with like 7k HP late game, because that is going to be a great format for a great front-to-back, high crowd control type of initiation. I mean, Scion is a champion who can peel, engage, lock down, and also tank a ton of flipping damage. So it does pose a problem to definitely be solved by Team Cupic.
Yeah, and one of the ways to do that is actually Varus. So Varus, whether on hit or lethality or even AP, depending on how you wish to play it, has been known to be that tank buster. We've seen full APs go and work, but listen, we don't got to worry about that. Team Cupic with the shout out to Riss himself with a Garen here in game one, baby.
Oh my god, Demacia, baby. And how appropriate to go ahead and yoink the Garen away from Triton, who is a loved Garen main himself. Plays it commonly in the mid lane, but can also play top lane as well. This is definitely a dirty move by Team Cupic to go ahead and yoink it from that team captain. Oh my god, I see the sparks and the fire roaring right now. I wonder how they're going to choose to respond. And it looks like we have Garen's sister coming into play here too.
I do agree, because that's the other side of it. Once a champion has been played, it cannot be played again in the current series, meaning even if Team Triton have it available, you don't get to play it at all. So this is truly a yoink at the end of the day. I 100% agree with you, Riss. The Lux coming out here is a little bit surprising, only because we do see the Garen locked in, and Lux has been a staple for a lot of the teams so far. We've seen it played a lot of times, maybe in that bot lane, maybe in that mid lane position. It's a safe pick. Damage output is a little bit lower, but if you're trying to stop an opponent coming straight at you, it's not the worst in the world. So hopefully we get to see that there.
Oh yeah, and the utility that this champion has is just definitely boundless between the vision, the ability to steal objectives, wave clear from a distance, shield acquisition too. Lux is just so well-rounded. She's almost like the Mario of Smash Bros. Like she has a lot of different qualities that brings to the table that really just helps smooth out any comps and any rough edges that come with it.
Yeah, 100%. And then you pair it with a more aggressive AP option, the Zoe coming in for that mid lane, which I actually really like. When you're looking for kind of that stability, when you're looking for that raw damage output, lending it to Team Triton is a huge benefactor in there. Now, you're blind picking this, which is the only scary part. Zoe has a lot of counters in the pool, namely for me, watching a possible Syndra come out could be huge. The Morgana, though, in play as a flex for Team Cupic, you can run it in the support or mid or jungle or wherever the heck you wish. I like that as a third.
Yeah, Morgana is such a great counter here, too, to what we're seeing from Team Triton, because let's talk about the crowd control options here. Obviously, we have the light binding. We have a Science crowd control, which doesn't do any magic damage on the forefront except for his E. So on top of the Sleepy Triple Bubble, which also has a low magic damage ratio as well until it's converted, it's going to be a really great buffer to be able to get into these fights and be able to help save people, too, because of the deterrent to crowd control. And there's a lot of deadly crowd control on Team Triton.
Yeah, Team Triton are liking this, but what is this draft right now? Morgana and Zillion into an Aesol, Zoe, Lux. At this point, grab Mundo for Team Cupic. I don't give a flying heck of what you decide to do, but that is triple AP, sustained AP, by the way, my favorite there. And then the Zin's out to round it out. Okay, screw AD, just go tank into Wombo, and that's your game plan.
If we do not see an Abyssal Mask on the Cyan or the Xin, I'm calling someone on the staff to ask for my money back, because that would be one of the biggest itemization blunders. And you guys know last time I was harping and harping about certain itemization choices. So I want to let you know, Team Triton, Team Cupic, I got my eyes on you. You better be good with the shopkeeper and get it straight. Otherwise, I'm coming for you.
Oh, and then a Hecarim at the end. So Team Cupid going for the one-and-done Slayer build. Essentially, you go speed up with a Zillion, Black Shield on the Morgana, and say, screw it, Hecarim, go in, slaughter one of the APs, and then get the heck back out. Not a bad idea to round things out for Team Cupic and Team Triton, both having very identifiable win conditions and team fight tactics in there.
Yeah, definitely. Both identities of team comps have definitely been forged, and they're very quite apparent here too. You know, you have the dive-heavy team comp of Team Cupic, and then you also have the siege and scale-heavy build of Team.
Oh my gosh, they flipped it on us. Okay. One was understandable. Two is a little bit rough. I love you, Ice, but I also dislike the teams for doing this to you. I know it's not your fault. So it's Team Cupic opting for this. It was Triton that did get their lovely, lovely Garen. So this changes our entire viewpoint, Riz, as we're diving into game one.
Okay. Putting the casters on the spot. That's okay. Hey, it's okay.
Wait,
hey, look,
no. Wait. Am I? Oh no, Triton is on it. Okay, Triton is on
okay.
Garen. I forgot. We're good. My brain was lost.
Right.
Great first game, Riz. Great first game. We really want to throw you a mind bender. It is Team Triton on the red side, and Team Cupic on the blue to start things off.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have Cupic on the Lux. We have Killagy on Xin, which I didn't even know was a thing. He must be dusting off a pocket pick here too. But it's so exciting and interesting to see Triton on Garen. He's taking Phase Rush deliberately into the side, which is going to provide not only scaling, but a lot of engage, disengage options as well. And pairing that further with Hecarim and Zillion, you know, champions that can be very benefited by the, obviously, speed boost that Zillion provides. It's going to really shape up to have some nice engages as we see, like, maybe into the mid to late side of this game here. Obviously, they need their items. Obviously, they need their tempo. But I'm curious to see how Team Triton's going to be playing the early, because the early may not be so great. I mean, they do have Hecarim's strong ganks, which is great. But obviously, like, the crowd control options that, like, we have from the bot lane here on Team Cupic, it definitely gives a lot of cause for concern. I'm curious to see how these first 10 minutes are going to pan out there, Orbital.
I think when we look at these lane matchups across the board, it is kind of willy-nilly. I mean, we're so used to seeing maybe ADCs or double APs on bot side. It's there, but to see how this is actually going to shake up such an offensive bot lane, and not only that, Na'Av is running a weird one, going with that first strike on the Varus, so either pure lethality or pure AP. I think it's the lethality at the end of the day, which makes sense, but it is going to be an interesting match at the end of the day, depending on how this early game shakes out, depending on who is able to get the early poke, get the early kills, and everything of the sort. That's going to be a nice binding, but unable to follow up with it, as Bob doesn't really have the blighting stacks just yet under their belt.
And we have just about a minute off from that potential full clear from both junkers, respectively. So we should have a gank coming out of the woodwork at any moment, because bear in mind, like in mid side and top side here, we have all four champions not having any dashes. So depending on how lane positioning happens, and this lovely pause that's in front of us gives me tons of time to talk about the vulnerability of these champions, and how them not having dashes, of course, means that it's easy flank potential from the Hecarim and the Xin. But yeah, it looks like we're heading to a brief pause here, maybe.
Yeah, give it a little bit of time. So talk a little bit more. I am curious. You said it's about a minute until the gank pattern comes through, but from what I was looking at, they still had almost a full half clear to go. So do we really expect it in the next minute, or do we expect it a little bit later, maybe at 4 minutes? Because you do still want to go for the scuttle as well. Would it be appropriate to actually forego maybe one of those camps just to get an early gank in, or would you prefer the full clear into scuttle into gank afterwards?
Yeah, it's definitely a coin flip. I mean, of course, you know, it's not going to be a first here where we have seen some solo queue tactics being employed in these types of tournaments. Yeah. And Hecarim, you know, could have potentially went ahead and ganked our Scion. Of course, in this type of state now, it doesn't seem to be possible.
That's just dead right there. The AP combination rending obs down. It's a beautiful work from Team Cupic as they take first blood. Not in tower ranges that binding though, so it's not going to be a kill back if they.
Now, of course, the game just started. It's only 1 kill down, so the pressure isn't really on too much, but you have to keep in mind, too, that anytime that Cupic is part of a lane that gets a snowball, he disastrously goes ahead and snowballs that game out of control. So, obviously, Team Triton has to keep Cupic on his radar because his champion Ocean is large, his skills and mechanics are definitely abundant, so I really hope that they give him the respect and caution that he deserves, But as we see this top lane back to mid lane here, we're seeing a lot of back and forth, a lot of a sandbag between the two. Even Aurelion Sol and Zillion, just throwing punches at each other. It's good, and they're expending mana bars too. You see that Aurelion Sol's mana bar is definitely getting eaten up early because one of the issues about the champion that he faces early, of course, is those deadly mana costs. So budgeting your mana is definitely one of the key cornerstones to making sure you survive early with that Aurelion Sol.
Stay alive, farm up that Stardust, and become a giant dragon, as you assume you should be. First clears also completed without nary a word from either of the junglers. Both kill as well as Aurelius saying, look, we got the full clears, let's go ahead back away. Both were able to get their appropriate camps, both sitting at 9 camps gone. Come back out on the Rift with varying inventories though. Pickaxe versus double longsword and a sweepers in pocket. So a little bit different identifiable points there.
Yeah, and we see Killer G also picking up the control ward as well, trying to play the macro game a little bit. I wonder where he's going to be placing it. Any bets? I bet he might be stationing it towards bot lane. Obviously, I don't know how much they're going to be valuing dragons, but obviously with the Aurelion Sol scaling, it may be hard to actually contest Dragon only because his wave clear is going to fall a little bit short of Zillion's, especially since he's going to be able to double bomb every single wave, especially when he gets those mana items. So I'm curious to see what type of priority surfaces for both teams as we get into the next, few minutes here. It does remain to be seen.
This is... I do agree that the double bomb can be such a problem to deal with as well. It's the same thing that whenever you see a Morgana mid lane, it's just wave clear versus wave clear and then rotate to help the jungler. It's an annoying strat, by the way. I hate it so much because it's such an uninteractive mid lane experience. Granted, I play a Nivea, so I can't really talk because that's the exact same situation. But it is that position of it's very uninteractive, but you get so much value out of it at the end of the day. So that's why we're watching this bot side as Cupic has to step away, gets a binding landed on them, but that Sleepy Trouble Bubble deters any further contact. So it's just damage at the end of the day.
Well, I love it. I love a member of the Nivea's main community just going ahead and saying wave clear is bad. You hearing this right, games? Nerf wave clear. I want to see people commit to these waves. Spend a solid 20 seconds. Back in my day, we had to spend 30 seconds clearing away. Those cannon minions were basically HP values of towers. I'm just kind of yapping at this point. But I have to say that, yeah, there are some champion versus champion states do become non-interactive and a little bit on the boring side because it's just wave clear versus wave clear. It's the ping pong effect. We don't want to see that. We want to see some blood and mayhem here, of course, summoners. But, I'm seeing a lot of exchange of skill shots, so that's good. That's going to mix things up. And it makes me wonder what skill shot is going to land first. Oh, possibly this one.
It's going to be a little bit of a catch-off, stepping a little bit too far forward, and now getting burned yet again. But in comes Aurelius, maybe getting some revenge here. Nice binding to slow them down. Cupic with the last of their mana was able to stall them out, but only for a moment. Tanika still goes down, and Cupic watches as that's a 1-for-1 here in the bottom lane.
You saw just enough mana on Cupic's Bardic to basically smash that break glass in case of emergency button to go ahead and bail out the Zoe, but just not enough time was had to be able to make that save. And it is unfortunate here, but with a 2-1 lead, things are still shaping up pretty well for Team Cupic here. It just remains to be seen how the rest of the games go with the scaling. I mean, yes, kills are nice, but the most important thing here for Team Cupic is also farm, EXP, and time. Those are the most important things. Because, we want that Stardust and Aurelion Sol. We want those Soulfire stacks on Sion. And also we want items on both of those bot lane mages.
Get all the power, get all the AP in the world, but for Aurelius, they're just saying, hey, look, I have level 6, I have the power, and I can fight this one out. Sleep Trouble Bubble is going to lock before the Black Shield comes down, so it's a split battle right now as the mid lane is where you look, and it's Zillion to take down the Aurelion Soul, and it's a brutal one to watch for Tamika getting a shield up from this Lux, and Cupid's able to save their bot lane, but it's all about the feats of warfare as that's damage from behind, not Ov coming in with the swing gets the feet for themselves, but now has to run for safety. Overall, a 3 for 3 total throughout this entirety of the game as both teams are trading blows.
You know, that Zillion ultimate, it was so clutch, and it's definitely going to speak volumes about the problem that Team Cupic has to solve in terms of solo picks. Because, you know, how they get a solo pick and how they get burst onto the team is basically laying their crowd control. You know, they get the Lux Laser, of course, but we also need to get the Battle Star. Oh, gosh.
I love that flash, by the way. That was glorious to watch right there. Great outplay to put down not obs, but it is showing that consistent fighting factor at the end of the day. I don't really know any other way to put it because I have to give credit. I wasn't expecting this much blood for triple AP versus a single AD and all this kind of mix up. We thought it was going to be a little bit slower just to give time to ramp up. They're going blow for blow.
I think basically from what I remember from past tournaments with Team Cupic's you know, showing and his teams that he's assembled, like he has always gone for the comp identity, he's gone for the scaling, but to see this amount of aggression be shown up from him at the same time too is definitely a great padding that's going to possibly buy him some time that he needs to be able to achieve that team vision. And maybe that's exactly what they're going for, Orbital. I don't know. But, you know, I think it definitely, you know, when you have the tools in front of you, when you have Lux Bonding, when you have Sleepy Trouble Public, you might as well go ahead and use it. You might as well try to get some kills, some points on your screen, some gold in your pocket. Of course, this is where you gotta want to go ahead and get that early lead. But, you know, it just remains to be seen like how much attention is going to be given to bottom and see how much that shakes up the equation because it is very well a good win condition to potentially shut down Cupic because on his own he is definitely a disastrous chess piece to be left on that chessboard.
I don't know if that sounds from experience or just watching the game state. You almost have like a personal vendetta in there, but it is going to be very interesting to watch. And for that, we do want to make sure all the players are here and ready to play. We are going to give time for the teams to make sure that their games are working properly. So we are going to go to a short break. When we come back, the quarterfinals will continue with Team Cupic going up against Team Triton. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Time is done as we are set and it looks like the players are ready to go. We appreciate everyone's patience and especially for the players themselves as although this is a community tournament, I don't think anyone enjoys having to be put into a spot where they can't play the game. However, this turnaround, this moment has given time for Naab to try and turn this, but we saw this fight a little bit earlier, which led Cupic to take the 1v1. We'll get right back into it, but well done overall.
A nice little refresher to be able to bring us back to current events here, but the game is still live and raging here on the wintering map of Summoner's Rift. And I gotta say, just seeing this map finally being brought back to life is just such a spectacle, and I love that it's the time of year where we get to see everyone go ahead and slash down that mayhem on Summoner's Rift, the winter map, of course. Props to Riot Games, shout out the Riot Games for making such an awesome map. But it also makes me curious too, like if there's any going to be consideration for possible champions and like their skill shots, of course, because a lot of complaints have surfaced about certain skill shots really mixing in with the wintry mix here of Summoner's Rift, of course. You know?
Yeah. As a Bad Santa Vigar owner, like, yes, 100%. You can hide the event horizon. It is brutal, but that is part of the game as well. As we see another catch option. Cupic on repeat takes out Ob, who goes down the 4th time this game.
Goodness, yeah, we have seen Lux several times this tournament, and just play after play, it definitely shows.
And that's just destruction there. So from bot to top of the map, Team Cupic really coming away with some strong leads.
Is that another bubble too? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It
was
like
a nice little tag.
Yeah.
Well, it's because Tamiko was like, I saw it, but I already used the portal jump, so no reason to follow through. Instead, it's the threat of damage, I think, is really the big part to watch for here. But in comes Zillion. I don't know. They came outside of the bush, but said easy fight here. Nice shield to help out, but the auto attack still reap rewards. Cupic is going to run for their life. Flash is available, but the Zillion gets tagged up by that binding. And it will look to be that finish. Zillion's chasing, though. Flash over that singularity. Land one more bomb, but the follow-through is there. And you forget to chrono shift. Oh. You forget to chrono shift, so Cupic gets the 1-for-1.
And I was seeing the icon highlighted because you guys can see the ultimate icon highlighted. That's hopefully not a spectator bug. That ultimate was available and just electively was chose not to be used at that moment. We're just saving it for next game, folks. It's okay.
That was... you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, you still get the shutdown. Because Cupic had a lot of kills under the belt. So it's a win-win either way. It's will that impact the rest of the game moving into the mid here as we're about 10.5 minutes in. Plates have fallen in a few different lanes, but sometimes those kills can really rack up because for the Zillion, you're 3-1-0, heavy on that gold input.
And this game also has 5 teleports. So we have 3 on one side, 2 on another. Oh, gonna be another engage here from the Hecarim.
Nice chase in. Aurelius making sure that poor Tamika has nowhere else to go. It's a nice pickup kill there, gifting it over to Naams.
Okay. And all right, we've got an almost evened out 7-6 score here. Several teleports are down. Obviously we have a few objectives on the horizon. That Infernal Drake really helping the scaling of, obviously Team Cupic here. And with the Ocean Drake coming up next, not as valuable as we're getting towards the tail end of the laning phase. Obviously, we do appreciate that type of buff earlier, but, of course, it remains to be seen what the Dragon Soul is going to be for this map. I'm curious to see which one is going to end up surfacing here. We're going to find out after this next objective is taken, and then hopefully closes out Feats of Warfare, because if I'm not mistaken, I think we're still trying to tie up that loose end as well.
Yeah, I think it was... I want to say it was Team Triton to get the first one. They were able to get the Feat of Warfare. They hit 3 first. It was very close, if I remember. However, the next ones are a little bit further off, but the next one I think would be the Feat of Strength. You're looking at Team Cupic. They got all 3 grubs plus the dragon, so in a minute and a half, as you said, tying off these objectives, and the towers don't look any closer to going down here. So 100%, I do agree that pace of play will lend itself to the feats being completed. And for Team Cupic, if you get those upgraded boots, it is going to allow you to become a much larger menace behind, because if you allow upgraded boots over to Team Triton, they're just going to go for the immediate Merc Treads, which have a built-in Canic Rukern into them, which is wild.
It is crazy too. And I'm really happy that you brought that up, Orbital, because statistically, I have done a lot of research. A lot of these champions have insane win rates in solo queue when they're able to get the tier 3 boots. Most notably Hecarim and Garen, because they can opt for defensive boots to pad out their blast cannon builds, or they can say, hey, you know what, I just want to go faster. I'm going to go ahead and get those upgraded Swifties and just have that 60 MS on top of converting that MS into bonus attack damage, which is all free real estate for both these champions.
Well, that's a terrifying thought, and I really hope to not see that that Hecarim just flying through the rim. However, already hitting level 9 and feeling okay with it. We'll see if it leads to anything further, of course. But for me right now, I am looking to see where these players step to. That's going to be a nice Sleepy Trouble bubble. Good Black Shield to ensure the sleep doesn't go through, but the damage output is still there, as that's going to be a laser and a half. Cupic is on point with the Malignance. Final Spark gets yet another one.
I gotta say, out of all the positions you could take on the turret, that was probably not the place to be. Narrow corridors and Lux is a deadly chemical combination that you do not want to be a part of, and Cupic is showcasing this time and time again on something like that.
Listen, the rest of the lanes, we are seeing Triton on that patent and Garen just take the plates, 3 to their name, mid lane, seeing a swath in comes the meteor, slows them all down, denies the follow through gank. Keep yourself safe. So Team Cupic starting to find wins everywhere as another Sleepy Trouble bubble slows down Naams, who TP'd in just then. Team Cupic running away with this early game on top of the dragon. There is going to be a lot of that extra plating up with the boots, plus the hectic to play for everything leading into an AP dealer's way. Chase in from Killer G as you lock down poor Zillion. It will be the Chrono Shift taken away.
Okay, the button is functional. R key does work. It is confirmed, Twitch chat. And among that commentary, oh my goodness, okay. We'll continue the sieging here. We got the Varus also falling once again to Cupic, and then swinging back to top lane here. Of course, we have the grand select match between Sion and Triton, of course, on his Garen. I hope you guys noticed that the Hex type map actually activated. So between the usage of teleport and the Hex gates, rotations to team fights and objectives is going to be quite abundant. So keep your guys' eyes peeled, especially on the mini-map here, as we go ahead and continue spectating this amazing action-packed game, guys, because there's going to be people bouncing all across the map between the teleports, the hex gates, and also the high mobility for these champions, too. I mean, obviously, we got Zillion, obviously, we got the Reliant Soul, we can fly over walls. It's just going to be mayhem everywhere, Orbital. I do think so.
I like the sound of Mayhem. I've been playing way too much Abraham Mayhem, by the way. I made a joke earlier about, I think, Aloran missing his Ornn ults and telling him to go back to basics, and I felt so bad for saying that because it just shows I don't play Summoner's Rift enough. Like, I knew an augment by heart. That's the worst of it, I think.
Casters get to do a little bit of flaming, right? You know, I mean,
Yeah,
right? Just
yeah.
another
I
stage
mean,
we get to do in a community tournament, you know.
my silver brain is trying to flame like high tier challenger grandmaster players. I'm like, someone's gonna make fun of me at some point for that. But yeah, we get a chance. We're casters, we're allowed to do this. At the end of the day, though, we are looking at about 16 minutes into the game, 3 minutes left on this straight upcoming, and everyone kind of shaking out here. You can see Triton recognizing that, hey, if we moved into the big game, let's start trying to empower this Hecarim to become the damage dealer that we know you can. And immediately starts into the mid lane. There's that patented Black Shield into stun onto Mika, who takes the bomb, eats it up, and loses a life. And then Triton comes from the side with the shutdown on top of the head of Cupid. Captain on captain aggression.
Oh my god, Demacia, baby. It's just great to see both Hecarim and Garen coming together to go ahead and get the work done. Backed by a Zillion who has a button that says, hey, just go ahead and die for 5 seconds. It's okay, I got you. I'll just go ahead and bring you back to life. It just shows the deadly identity of this team comp, and Team Cupic has to scramble and has to scramble soon, because that dive is definitely prone to being replicated if they don't get their act together and get it together soon.
I mean, these win cons are so interesting as Triton flies through a quarter of the HP of this Aurelion Soul. Another drop of that meteor, though. The sky is descending. Aurelion Soul saying, not just quite yet, it's just a meteor. Not the full sky, but we saw that a little bit earlier as well. Team Cupic, though, for the current moment, giving themselves a bit of space and time. But for Team Triton, they're not going to allow that. Crescent Guard from Killagy, able to keep themselves safe, but do you try and re-aggress? Sleepy Trouble Bubble on the ground. Cupic says, no, I just want the tower.
Okay, I definitely think that was a really good call by them too, because I think prioritizing the tier 1 is definitely worth a kill, more than a kill any day of the week. Because once you have that structure down, it's not coming back. It's not the Nexus turrets, folks. It is just staying in the ground. Oh.
I don't like seeing any of this, by the way. This is by far one of the most aggressive and annoying double AP bot lanes here. It's such a cross-map dealer. You can see Cupic willing every single time a Sleepy Trouble bubble goes down. I'm now seeing why you're okay taking that laser. It drops, what, 80% of I'm Choi's HP from off your screen. It is brutal to watch.
And they should really give Zillion an EMT skin, because the amount of resuscitating he's going to have to do on these teammates is just insurmountable. He's going from back to forth. You know, obviously, you know, it's definitely a small cooldown when they stack the ability haste, but it is going to be on cooldown left and right, ladies and gentlemen, because those skill shots are not going to stop Cupic and Zoe. Obviously, having tons of mana to be able to keep throwing out these skill shots, it's going to continue.
Top side, you can see the Zillion as well, dancing a little bit, recognizing that, hey, I can't really win this one. It's more for the wave clear. But for Auric here on the top side, you're like, hey, no big deal. Look at this. I'll go ahead and power down the tower. You're not going to be able to stop me. You actually have to walk away from me at the current moment. So that's another tower to the hands of Cupic's side. They are continuing the reign of dominance in the macro game so far. 3 towers to 0.
It is a costly macro choice for Team Triton, because you can see deliberately that they want to have Triton down bottom to be present in case of Team Cupic starting the Otacon. Obviously, Team Triton electing to take Ignite does come with the price paid of not having that teleport access. So here we're seeing Zillion, of course, paying that price, having to use the ultimate on himself because he cannot stop the Scion. He's too tanky, too abundant, and obviously the Zillion's not building any durability. So even Scion coming in with that Tiamat and that Tunneler, it's going to be enough damage to go ahead and run yourself down.
Oh, I think it does even more than that. It really shows one of the glaring weaknesses of Team Triton's comp. We talked about the fact that you need a tank buster to get through, and the only one that you really had was Na'V on this Varus. And the Varus has been shut down 2, 6, and 4 on the lethality, not having that major amount of damage. So you're going to have struggles all the way through if you don't get that Varus up and online. That's TP to the backside as Auric actually goes for a pincer maneuver. In comes the Meteor Slam, but it doesn't really catch anyone. So far, HP bars are still okay. Still on the backside, look for the double bomb, actually finds it, but it's Aurelius that gets locked down instead. It's a 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Still leaves Cupic for the fight opportunity. Triton melted where he stands, gets the Demacian sword straight through, but is unable to get more. So it's a 2-for-2 at the end of the day, but it's Team Cupic that went on the aggressive.
Oh my goodness, I mean, it's all teleports exhausted there on Team Triton's end, except for Varus. it just remains to be seen if they have any possible chance of contesting this dragon. I'm leaning towards no, because there you can see as well that their vision has definitely dwindled over the last, obviously, 30 seconds. But you have that red ward there in the pit, so that is definitely valuable in terms of playing process of elimination, saying, hey, okay, if they're not in the pit, where could they be, right? It could lead to a potential ambush. So they have to tread carefully here, because putting another person on death timer means that it could obviously transition into that Otacon take as well. So right now, their positioning is paramount.
Love the way that you put that. They have to be at the right points at the right times. They have to have their positioning appropriate because it is paramount. That is a word that I am going to be adding to my dictionary very, very quickly. It probably should have been there from the beginning. But I do agree. Arc running interference, though, as the Dragon is currently up and available for Team Cupic, even though it's 11 to 10. It's 3k up. That's more than enough gold to play for some of those more aggressive positions. Mika finding a nice little route, but Triton, of course, having that buffer of the resistances, was able to go for the Swifties, still able to speed their way around the map. All 5 members here around this Dragon side. And did someone actually just use the Chrono? That's an old down. I don't think you like that laser across 4. It's gonna wreck shot, but on the backside of Aurelius, it's trying to deal the damage. A singular meteor straight to the ground will shatter the rest of the HP bars. It's a triple for the Aurelian Soul. That's Team Triton, our Team Trigon.
I love that. You know, I have to say it might have been a possibly disastrous choice to go ahead and try to contest the Otacon Dragon sandwich combo through obviously their side blue, because you know when you're dealing with so many walls and obviously Lux binding too, when we're dealing with Flock of War, you have the enhanced range from the Sleeping Triple Bubble, you have the Lux binding coming out of nowhere. It's only a matter of time before something lands, and then obviously Death Timers have popped that Zillion open. As we saw, it was completely shot out of the woodwork right off the bat. It makes me wonder the alternative scenario if they possibly led into River and having that open space available where they not only have more wiggle room, but they don't have to deal with such disastrous enhancements given by that aforementioned triad of walls.
I hate all of this. Tamik, no. Don't do it again. No, this is a support against a mid laner. It will be Tamika to slaughter poor Zillion. Meanwhile, the tower was saying bye, trying to at least the win there. But my God, that was brutal to watch. Triton speeding away from this mid lane, the scene of the crime. But Team Cupic are finding win after win in the kill department.
You know, Orbital, just like Zyra, you gotta put support in quotations when it comes to dealing with this.
That is very true. However, for the Crescent Guard, Kilichi turns to the one on the killing grounds, but that charge in Unstoppable Onslaught will create the shockwave to shatter more dreams. Ein Choi is the third to fall, as that's 4 total of Team Triton, as Team Cupic look for one last body. Either way, a massive influx of gold for Team Cupic's side.
Deadly skill shots and narrow corridors. Name a better combination in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. And Team Cupic are definitely utilizing this type of terrain really, really well.
Jeez, that's a burn and a half. The Aurelian Soul taking their 6th of the game, looking for a 7th. If Zillion's a little bit worrisome, a laser from across the battlefield allows Cupic to drop that Zillion into low HP. They had to burn Chrono Shift again.
EMT, EMT, EMT.
Self-resuscitation is what we're watching there. I've never seen an EMT have to revive themselves, but we're watching it happen over and over again.
Oh my gosh. I have to say, the Zillion was a great pick, but it's just like, one champion can only do so much when the pick potential is this abundant from Team Cupic. They are taking people out like an FPS deathmatch, like goodness gracious. And we're seeing it happen again and again, and one more time, Cupic taking another person out. Just basically stacking kills on the leaderboard like a deathmatch. Oh my gosh, I'm finally reminded of Halo 2.
All I'm reminded of is like, I don't know, zombie modes, because this is like revive on revive, and you keep reviving just to die again. I feel like that's all that's happening. Team Cupic are showing why they are such a strong opponent. The fact that the squad, I believe, went 2-1 in the group stage is out of this world chaotic. Poor Triton are doing their best as much as they can, but look at that. It is another annihilation at the end of the day. Cupic is running a rampant right now. Sleepy Trouble didn't even have time to fully proc. That is destructive work, Cupic, with back-to-back final sparks. completely denying the name.
And you know, Orbital, with all this going on, I'm seeing the HUD there and Negatron cloak purchased from Triton. I think that this is the first point where we're starting to see that issue respect into how deadly this team is and how much magic damage they're actually dealing. Holy flip. It's just crazy because they're just dying in less than a second. So it really poses the question, like, how will itemization adapt to hold on for dear life? If there's any time to be bought in this game for Team Triton, where is it going to come from? It remains to be seen, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, they're so damage focused as well. You can see them trying to make up for a little bit of that no damage aspect. So they're trading out their HP bars for the damage prospects. Spirit Shojin plus Eclipse. Like, this is a standard build, I think, for a Hecarim at the end of the day. You can see the mid lane, the Zillion, trying their best. But again, a Zillion doesn't have great scaling numbers. So even though you go with the Shadow Flame plus that Luden's Companion, it doesn't feel as good. And so for not Obs, you're the one kind of watching here, as that's a single laser. Are you kidding me?
The Comet coming out to finish off the job. Oh my gosh. And the amount of kills we've seen taken with Comet just attests to seeing how powerful
That wasn't even a
is.
Comet.
It wasn't Comet, it was Ares?
First
It was a
strike.
Scorch. Oh, first strike. Oh
That
my
was
gosh.
a Scorch plus first strike combination, plus a
hallucinating.
Malignant Security. Are you kidding me, dude?
Oh my god. Yep. I'm hallucinating.
It might as well have been a Comet, quite honestly. Maybe an Aurelion Soul Comet, as we are
Aurelion
seeing
Soul Comet.
the Comet and the Blaze from the team fall through. Triton flashing over the wall to try and stay safe, but Team Cupid taking everything on the map right now. It is their world and their game to play. Triton taking the Hextech Gate in the wrong direction, just trying to stay away from Killa G, but Killa G with the jump forward. A last win becomes lightning. The strike will claim your life as Team Cupid look for a game one end here at 27 minutes. Burn, baby, burn is what we just watched as the poor Hecarim is melted on the spot and his first inhibitor at 27 and a half as Team Cupid are looking for the game end.
And Arik, the unstoppable Scion King, doesn't suffer a potential death this entire tournament. It makes me wonder if he's going to land down the fountain to go ahead and break that perfect score.
No, please don't. Protect and deny. This is huge work for Team Cupid in game number one. A Lux being the artillery the team needs. It's an ace for game one as Team Cupid take their first steps towards the semifinal.
Okay. Goodness. I have to say, what an exemplary performance from Team Cupid there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how deadly they are. And again, those narrow corridors are going to spell mayhem and destruction for any team that comes at Cupid's way. It really makes me wonder how they're going to talk and strategize from Team Triton because, you know, like the champions, the builds, sure, that can all be adjusted too, but also what comes with that as well is the positioning, the macro, how we're going to choose to approach objectives. Because if they go ahead and replicate that team comp from last game, because it's, you know, tried and true, it really gives the ball to Team Triton to say, hey, we got to really do different in our positioning. We got to do different in how we form these front to backs, these team fights. Because if they make the same mistakes as before, it could be a repeat victory for Team Cupid. I really am curious to see how they're going to scramble in terms of the next game.
They'll have to figure it out themselves. And for me, I'm asking the same question, but for Team Cupid, you just gotta keep doing the exact same thing. I don't know if there's any other powerful triple mage compositions that you can run in this way, but if you do, good for you. I'm gonna hate it, and I'll hate it to the end of my days. We're gonna go to a short break. Raina's Kingdoms tournament. We'll be back with more quarterfinals action here in just a little bit, with hopefully an updated standings along the way. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back everyone. We are here with game number 2. Thank you for holding off with us. We had a little bit of an extended break, mainly because we want to make sure all the players are good. I know Team Triton was having a couple connection issues, so they made sure they are good to go. However, we are headed into game number 2. You can see the picks just above my head that way, that were drafted in game number 1. We do have Team Triton on blue side this time, and they immediately grab that Mel, which has been such a hot topic between all the teams so far. Whether you love it or hate it, it is in Triton's hands.
Production's not going to fool me this time, Orbital. That's Team Cupid locking in at the Mel. Yeah, I know it.
Oh,
It's just
right.
switches
Is
at
it?
the end. Yes, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
There you go. Okay. So we are not fooled. It is Team Triton on the blue side. It is Mel on there. So we have gotten those words. Risto, I appreciate the fact that we had double checked that. You made us all double take.
And I have to say, maybe the Mel is an appropriate pick after the mayhem. I know I'm saying mayhem a lot, but the mayhem that we just witnessed last game with those skill shots. Mel is one of the best champions to say, hey, you got to throw a skill shot my way, I'm going to send it right back at you. So it remains to be seen what other types of choices that Triton's going to go ahead and maybe make the kryptonite to Team Cupic. But Mel, I have to say, is definitely a great pick here, knowing what type of picks that Cupic likes locking in here. We see the Vigar also locked in here for the mid lane. Would that be a mid lane or possibly bot lane, possibly support? I mean, Vigar can play 3 different roles.
Yeah, I really would like to see it in the mid lane. I personally, as you can tell, I love Vigar up there, but in a matchup, I feel it is one of the safer options against the Mel, but it is very contained to against other aggressive champions, right? You're looking at the fact that you had the event horizon, you are able to hide it in there. And I like what Team Triton are doing. They say, okay, if you're going to go a little bit safer, we're going to go for late game. We're going to challenge you in that respect with the Ornn. We've seen Ornn be able to stack up very well, but we've also seen teams lose with the Ornn if you don't draft appropriate damage fields to complement the ornaments.
And when a Garen player is banned out in solo queue, that means you got to go ahead and either dodge or dust off the old reliable, and nothing spells old reliable better than Mr. Choo Choo Train Ornn himself. And then we got the Zed locked in. Oh, I'm sure Raina's happy to see that. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got the Zed coming out. Possibly the jungle, possibly. You know, we have seen a lot of Zeds in the jungle. And I almost said mid lane, but you know, I have not been seeing much Zed mid lane, to be honest, Orbital. I don't know about Yon. Yeah.
No, we've seen it falter a few, but I do like the fact that if you're drafting an early game assassin, you buff it up with the ornaments later to make them a late game champion. It is a very nice crossover there. For Team Cupic, though, you are drafting such a heavy offensive CC composition. The Event Horizon plus the Cataclysm allows that Renekton to get into the mix, so already we're seeing that build up of style for Team Cupic. It is a little bit of a shift from what they did in game number 1, long range fielding position. Instead, now you're in this, we want to team fight. We are going to keep you locked into this cage and beat you down that way.
And Jarvan is such a deadly combination in terms of these high crowd control champions, because in terms of itemization, you have a really difficult choice to make when it comes to going into your tier 2 boots. I mean, you can go for Lucidity boots to go ahead and slim down that flash cooldown, because God knows everyone's going to be taking that on Team Triton to get out of Jarvan's Cataclysm. But then at the same time, too, Mercury Treads are also warranted here because, you know, we have the Sans from Soraka, we have the chain crowd control from both Vigar and Renekton, meaning that if any of these champions get locked up, it will spell doom and destruction if you do not get the heck out of there. And the same goes for Jarvan's ultimate too.
Yeah, and this is why I like the fact that for Team Triton, you're saying, okay, I don't actually want to deal with you at your range. I'm going to bring you into our range. With the Blitzcrank locked in, all of a sudden the Soraka and the Vigar, even the Renekton and the J4, all these can be soloed out champions where, hey, we'll draw you into range of the Mel, of the Zed. We will take your life there and just kind of pick you apart piece by piece. Team Triton are drafting this very singular damage composition with an Ornn in the back line to help with extra CC. Then you follow through with the Yunara in that same bank, which we saw back in the group stage have varying levels of wins. I like what Team Triton have done, and it's a far field from what they did in game 1.
And you can see the respect issue towards the Mel, because I do think these champion choices on Team Cupic are quite deliberate. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Orbital, you can't reflect Event Horizon. And I don't think you can reflect Jarvan's ultimate either, as far as I'm aware. So when you have a Mel having her flash on cooldown, it is going to pose quite a challenge here. And to round out that composition with Victor on top of it, there's the scaling right there, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Victor and we got the Vigar, both in tow. That is definitely noteworthy for Team Cupic.
Yeah, and that also means that, as you called, it does feel like that Vigar is going into the bot side, fielding out and a little bit of a farm aspect there. Now, as much as we say you can't reflect the event horizon, you can't reflect the comet coming down, you can reflect the Q, the a little bit phenomenal evil in there, but you can also reflect the primordial burst. So some of the big damage ticket items, they can be reflected back. That's what we're going to be watching for. However, getting into it, it's not going to be the Vigar in the bot side, because it's not the Mel in the bot side either. It's Mel mid, Vigar mid, with the Victor in the bot side instead, playing a little bit more with that static field and trying to keep the stasis available as we're heading into game number 2.
And I'm just going to go ahead and correct myself here really quickly, just keeping an eye on the keystones here. We do have Cupic taking first strike once again, playing into that scaling and true damage playstyle to hopefully ramp up that build so he turns into the devastating menace that he was last game. And oh gosh, we have the invite here from Team Triton scouting out the flash Blitzcrank hook. Oh, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to take Cupic, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if you could have gotten away from it, but Tamika steps up very far and eats that damage. Thankfully, it's only a flash for flash. Cupid losing theirs, and for I'm Choi, you're actually pretty okay with that. Ran the Hex Deck flash as well, so going to have an extra to play with if you want.
Now, I don't know the secondary runes that Cupid is taking, but if he's not taking Cosmic Insight, there is a potential advantage there earned by the Blitzcrank because we do see him on the Glacial Augment, and I do know that most Blitzcrank players do take Cosmic Insight to make sure they have Flash available sooner and sooner to be able to make those aforementioned Flash plays that we just saw. So there could be an angle to play there, especially if Team Triton does document that Summoner's Ball time step. We'll have to see.
The other side of that is I'm Choi and not Ovs are very obviously in this bush. They walked over a ward for it, so it's a little bit of a wait. Nice sidestep here, but that puts not Ovs into a dangerous spot. Quick turnaround on the damage aspect. And remember, there's no flash by I'm Choi. However, for Tamika, you also don't have a lot of safety. The heal was already used there. Burn and flash is safety. You are barely going to survive, but not Ovs is going to be the one eating a lot of the extra damage, which Cupid is absolutely okay with. No problems there. Putting this Yunara into a very dangerous position early on in the laning phase.
Feel the grudges. Like, I was not expecting this type. Oh my gosh, Soraka getting first blood. Okay. Oh my gosh, Tamika. Okay, on the board there with an extra 300 gold. And you know, an early snowball from Soraka could be a very, very nice padding to make sure Cupid gets a nice transition out from early to mid-game here. We do see Triton also suffering a little bit because, you know, Orin's matchup into Renekton is a little tough to say the least. You know, we know Renekton is that lane bully, but it remains to be seen how well Triton can pilot not being on his one trick. You know, he is known for the Garen, but him having to dust off other champions definitely puts him on the spot, and it definitely means that he'll have to show up if he wants to go ahead and earn his way back into potentially Game 3 here.
Marks bound here as this early game has unfolded into uncharted territories. That's way I put it. Flash forward once again as he catches poor Soraka, but Tamika is actually going to turn it around. Keep it saying, let's go ahead and fight a little bit more. Heals come out behind, but Tamika is now getting rendered down. Not Ovs able to take that kill. Killer G coming around the side, maybe looking for an extra lock, but a flash forward deals a 1 for 2 so far. And it will yield Team Triton an advantage. Not Ovs able to clear and put themselves at 2 and 2.
Okay, goodness gracious. Okay, this is great. The bot lane action is definitely intense, but we got to keep our eyes peeled because we do see a lot of sandbagging from top lane and mid lane as well. So we really do need to keep our eyes peeled here because it looks like both teams have definitely consented. They've shook the good old deed of saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and fight it early instead of just a passive wave clear induced experience that we all definitely do not want to see, whether it be on the caster's desk or at home. We want to see the action. We want to see death counts go up. We want to see those items assembled. I mean, this is what we're here to watch, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, this tournament is definitely full of it. Yeah, it's so great to see that.
I loved every single moment, and I will love every single moment throughout this November tournament as we are rounding out the end of the year. By the way, for those that are interested, we might host more events in the future, but at the current moment, this is the last one for this year for the community tournament side. Of course, more might be in the future for 2026, so make sure to join the Discord. You'll see it linked throughout the Twitch chat so far. We'll have a mix-up there as well. However, getting back to this game, we'll see if I'm Choi is able to find a little bit of a catch. This blitzcrank so far has yielded results whenever we do see an opponent stepping out. However, for Cupid, you're actually really happy. You take a look at the CS discrepancies, and it's a huge lead for Cupid on that AP scaling.
Of course, and once Cupid decides to maybe upgrade his laser, it definitely is going to aid his transition for extra wave clear. But it doesn't even matter because he's not even going to wait. He's going to continue throwing out those skill shots and put as much pressure onto Av as possible. And we did see that reminiscent from last game as well. You know, Cupid man on a mission. He did not want Av to have any farming opportunities whatsoever.
A little bit of a chop slap there. Rough times. Because on the top side for Renekton, you're happy about the current motion. You're up CS as well, which is where we're seeing this bleed of about 600. The rest of the laning matchups, though, we have yet to really see Killer G and Aurelius lean into those lane matchups. We haven't seen them get super active. Killer G did enter that bot side, but for Aurelius, it's just been farming. How quickly can we get to level 6, get that death mark available, and be able to jump into the battles?
And we're seeing a top side priority on both red side and bot side red priority, meaning that they do have the ball in their court if they want to go ahead and take an early dragon or grubs. But the question remains as to, like, what would they maybe prioritize more? I'm not mistaken on the map there, but it does seem like a Hextech Drake versus the first batch of Void Grubs. And both objectives kind of do spawn a little bit close to each other. But obviously with wardrobes off the map, obviously Dragon's there for the taking. It makes you wonder actually if they would value maybe the early wardrobes to possibly close out that first blood power bonus a little bit quicker. But if the ball's in red side support, I think he's getting there first. Oh my goodness. Okay. Ooh. Is that gonna be
It's
a
getting dangerous.
Eric.
I'm getting scared here.
Got the
Top
flash there.
side. Yeah, that's gonna be a slice, and that's it. The alligator chomps on down, but that's a hook on the bot side as tries to answer back. So far, these dances are looking more and more menacing. Mel and Vygar dancing in the mid lane. Whole different story there as well. Quick attempt at an Eclipse. Not gonna land too much damage behind. Team Cupid able to fight back, get that third kill on top. Means they are the ones with the feat of warfare.
I saw Cupid possibly eyeing that low HP, that low HP Blitzcrank, but I don't think we're able to confirm if Blitzcrank's passive was actually procced at that moment. So I do think it was going to be what we like to call like a high variance play, a high variance dive there if they did try to attempt to dive the Choi. And in most situations, like diving for the tank support is not really ideal, especially when the ADC can possibly follow up and get a 1-for-1 trade, which there in turn accelerates their first purchase. So I definitely think that the choice to not dive there from Killer G was definitely appropriate. Gonna go ahead and reset. We're gonna go ahead and clear. He says he's got buff to take. He's got jungle to clear. We're just gonna ease up. We're gonna take this nice and slow. There is still time to go ahead and accelerate, get future ganks, maybe prioritize that level 6 because that's how that's like what we know that Jarvan is famous for. Coming in, attacking Cataclysm, burning those flash cooldowns, and that actually generates actual impact when it comes to these fights because, missing out on a flash when it comes to showing up the dragon and grubs as well is definitely a key difference that's going to be shown here in the next few minutes, folks.
A little bit of a mix here as Killa talked about a lot of that pressure on the top side. At the beginning is now going to see a Triton headbutts in, recognize that, hey, I don't really want to be here. Flashes away. Trying to get away from the Dominus. Well timed by Triton to keep their life and keep their HP bar in tow. Bot side, I'm Choi getting ready for a mix. That's Tamika to get knocked up. And just outside that silence range, Aurelia's coming in with extra damage. Tamika keeping that wish available. Actually, no wish is in hand. Instead, it's just a heal in, heals on top. Aurelia's now running away for their life. Keeping stepped up a little bit too far. Auto attacks going down, but Cupid walked in with the empowered auto. That is the inventor inventing a kill in a 2v3. That might look to turn it around as well. Team Cupid saying, yo, you can dance this all you want, but you're not going to enjoy it. Cupid with yet another. Tamika still alive. Even through the ignite is able to allow Cupid to fight back. I'm Choi. It's like, bro, are you freaking kidding me? Another silence to help. Cupid with their third on the line. Maybe another laser will take it. The Q to follow up, and it will be 6 total, as that is Team Cupid to come out in disgusting gold fashion.
The surfacing gameplay of the implications of the first blood on Soraka leading into the early Ionian Boots choice. Oh, falling short. It looks like they overstayed a little bit, getting picked off both from the mid laner and AEC respectively. But it just says volumes about that fight, how that early Ionian Boots of Lucidity is just such a quick power spike item for Soraka, and just not being able to move out of danger, but to also keep those heals pumping for Cupid as he was making play after play. It just, that snowball effect is just so present in League of Legends. It's present in solo queue, it's present in these competitive games, and it's definitely something you cannot downplay. One kill can definitely change the course of the game. We're seeing it actually unfold here, right here in Raina's forehead.
This is going to be a whole different story, as in this tournament we've seen a lot of fun, a lot of silliness, but again, it's Team Cupid from game number 1 saying you're seeing a lot of wins across our board. 18.8 in their favor. Now they get a dance on Aurelius, who is silenced. Quick little Cataclysm turned on in, no shield out as Vygar slaughters one with the Primordial Burst. Aurelius falls as well. Disaster striking for Team Triton as they are losing lives left and right. Another empowered as that's a triple to the Vygar himself. There's a spooky Halloween costume as they yield a 9th kill for the team.
And, we saw that desperate attempt to reflect the Cataclysm, but it just falls short because, as we talked about earlier, you can't reflect the Cataclysm. And, Mel having flashbang cooldown is just a painful thing to see there. Definitely a misappropriated rotation in terms of trying to confirm that dragon. I do think that Team Triton here has to be a bit more respectful in terms of how they operate in vision, because as we saw last game, They know how to play the pick game. They know how to play the vision game. They need to issue that respect to be able to get a foot in the door here, because if they don't, that gold disparity that we're seeing right now is only going to get larger and larger. And, you know, sure, maybe they play for late game a little bit. Their composition shows that, of course. But they're not going to get there if they continue with these gameplay patterns. They need to ease it a little bit and say, hey, you know what? Let's lower the variance. We don't have the vision. Let's give a dragon or two. It's not the end of the world.
Everything I'm trying to tell about story. Tarek dancing and gets a huge slice behind. Good little spin, keeps you very, very healthy, and now you can turn it into even more. Poor Aurelius wasn't ready for it, but that's not the main play of the game. Right now, at 11.5 minutes, we are seeing this bot lane tower with the power of AP, drawing what could be first tower for the squad. At 11.5 minutes, all the plates go your way as well. Massive gold influx. Vigar coming around the mid lane, though. It's just a cross-map play. Big jump, no event horizon to lock, but you do find I'm Choi, who loses her life in tow. No matter where you go, Team Cupic is winning out.
And Orbital, with that play just mentioned, you know, that does secure, like, the feats of warfare, giving them the enhanced boots. I mean, we were going to see Cupic upgrading those sorcerer shoots for even more magic penetration. The same thing is also accessible to the Vigar. And, you know, last game, we didn't see much magic resistance purchased by Team Triton, you know, with due respect to what Team Cupic is capable of. I really wonder if they're going to switch up the itemization in this game to say, hey, you know, we respect what the Victory can do. We respect what the Vigar can do, obviously. We want to make sure our carries don't blow up and die in less than 2 seconds on our death at the recap here. And let's go ahead and buy some early MR. That's what I'm hoping for at the very least. I want to see that scrambling from Team Triton. I want to see them come to life and answer the various problems that Team Cupic has been giving time and time again to all these teams in the tournament. Their gameplay patterns, their strategy is very solid. But I want to see some counterplay here. You know, it remains to be seen how they're going to do it.
Poor Mel.
Yeah.
We saw this coming when the Vigar decided to hide inside of a brush for a moment. Like, this is a wait and wait and wait some more. Vigar now on their fourth with a Rod of Ages of all things. The rest of the team will come on in, though, and ensure Vigar doesn't get away scot-free. Transcendent state for not Ovs. We'll finish it off. Shut down goes the Yunara's way.
Yeah, 710 bits of gold there given to the Yunara. That is definitely sizable, to say the least, Orville. That's going to probably allow Yunara to go ahead and complete her first item, and that's exactly what Ob is looking for here, because Ob, you know, obviously ADCs, they're very item dependent, but it makes a world of difference as we head into the mid game here, having a 1-item ADC compared to a 3-component ADC. You know, we got a few minutes off of Dragon. Herald is definitely on the horizon, and it remains to be seen, like, if we're going to be contesting objectives, if they do it in the way they happen, they have to be really careful about it.
It is Triton's turn to flash away. No knockup to go through, but that's because he had to flash out of the pathway. And it's Team Cupic to start applying that pressure everywhere. This is not an ending source. This is just Team Cupic constantly saying, we got the lead, we have no worries, we even got a jungler in our back pocket. They are just ensuring that they do everything by the books. They take him bot and mid so far. They just need topside tower. I'm Choi flashing over the wall, though. Coming in with the rest of the squad is going to be a little bit of silence, but they cut through Triton like hot butter. It will be Aurelius trying to get a kill back to Mika, healing up as much as possible, flashing away from a lot of shurikens. It is cataclysm. Unfortunately, it locks up to Mika, but they will sacrifice their life for the rest of the team. A 2-for-1 at the end of the day as Team Cupic wins on out.
They are definitely going all out to try to keep these tier 1 towers alive, and it's definitely a cost here. Oh my god, falling to the Vigar, unable to deal with the event horizon. There's no wiggle room, there's no flash. Actually, there was flash available, if I'm not mistaken. It was chosen not to be used in that fight. I guess we're saving it for next fight.
You like the turnaround, though? That was a great eclipse to take one back, but look at the heal, the Sundered Sky, keeping Killigi alive. And poor Mel is like, bro, I have no real name. I just go by Mel, and I go by no extra kills to myself. Team Cupic get away with topside tower in the multi-fight without losing their life, but instead Cupic actually turns it around, gets the empowered Hextech core, and is rocking out with so much extra value. He's going to try and turn it around with the chaotic storm here. Aurelius, Elyon running for their life. Ridiculous work from Team Cupic to yield results no matter what they do.
Oh my gosh, you know, that heal was so crazy that we mentioned earlier, because you not only have the Conqueror heal for the proc damage on Sundered Sky, but also the proc heal on Sundered Sky itself. it definitely turns around fight to the pinch. And I mean, we also have Soraka on top of it. So, like, the question I'm going to pose to you, Orbital, is are we going to see Grievous Wounds at some point? Because the Soraka is there. Jarvan's build is pretty heal heavy, you know?
I mean, you wish you could, but you're going to have to settle for the early Thornmails coming out from Triton right now.
Yeah.
I just don't know anyone's actually going to be able to stop by. It's a pit stop. It is a gold sink that you talked about. Not a gold sink, it's a necessary buy. But who has the gold to drop 800 just to try and get Grievous Wounds? At this point, you just got to try and push on through as quickly as possible. I love that you called it out, but it's an unfortunate thing where I don't think anyone can do so. You can see Tamika just running around very low HP, but Vigar is very, very healthy. They have no worries at the end of the day.
Soraka with confidence. At least we got the spell shield there. Oh my gosh, just dropping to like 5 HP there, making sure his teammates are topped off. I definitely do stuff that. But there's a little bit of swagger going on there because when you're trading on that map with that much HP left, you know, you're saying to yourself, you're sending a message, come and get me if you can. I dare you.
Oh boy, Cupid running away and a little bit of a lock-in. That's a dance. Nice death mark to gather one back, but the resounding damage could be big. Kill a G. Trying to get a little bit of help outside of the range of that redemption, but he's still turning around with the Thunder Sky. Thunder Sky doing so much. Empowerment on the other side is not off. He's run down by the alligator, and in comes Vigar to try and get more revenge. It's 2 for 2 at the end of the day. Poor Mel walks on the wrong side of the map. Event Horizon not needed. Primordial Burst takes out another life. 6-1-1, turning around. It might be 9-1-1 for Team Triton as they are running for the hills, and Team Cupid near tripling the number of kills over Team Triton. This is a show and a half.
Oh my goodness, and we almost see a near 20,000 gold disparity. It's putting the insurmountable pressure on Team Triton. Honestly, Orbital, if I see any hope for Team Triton here, I want to see like kind of what Toy is trying to implement right now, staying near those towers and trying to fish for hooks. The turtle game, it definitely doesn't need to be explained too well here. It is definitely a necessitation because if they have any hope of getting back into this game, they gotta condense their vision. They gotta go ahead and hug their towers with their pipe. You know, Team Cubic is a name to be feared in this tournament, and they're showcasing it here in Game 2. If Team Triton wants to be able to buy their ticket into the next 10 minutes of the game, they have to show that due respect, and maybe just play patient for those close turn ups.
Gonna make it work. It's a whole different story right now. It's a little bit of a chase in. Question marks abound as another laser comes on out and just takes the life of I'm Choi. I'm Choi is cooked inside of that storm and more. 25-9. A little bit of a wish and heal redemption and all just to top up the HP bars. Brutality is on Brutality's way as Arik to make sure that no one is able to stay alive there. This is looking like the beginning of the end here, Risk. I don't really see a way for Team Triton to stay alive. Horn to come in. Is it going to find a mark? Yes, they do. Tamika's a little bit low. Chase on in. And the death mark takes your life. How many more will fall? That's Primordial Burst yet again. This is just revenge upon revenge upon revenge, it feels like at the end of the day. Nice move just outside of tower range. But the Vigar might go down. Yes, they do. Connection and more. But Killa G brings the kill and more. 28-11, 2 for 3. Team Cupid looking for yet another inhibitor tower.
Team Triton, you can see them trying to hold on for dear life. I love the play that they were making with the tier 3. Obviously, between the Blitz and the crop control, provided they were able to get key targets such as the Vigar and the Soraka down. And, you know, many people would say, okay, Soraka's not that high priority of a champion. It seems like, yes, she is. Yes, she is. You want to focus her in Silic, you want to focus on her competitive games, because that champion will keep the enemy team alive on endless bounds if you do not address her. And on top of that too, she's also vulnerable to crowd control, which is what we saw, you know, from the Ornn engage. If the Soraka chooses to continue frontlining like that, it does pose a potential risk for how the next fight is going to pan out, and the one after that. Of course, so on and so forth here, but I definitely want to see more tower play in there. I want to see Ornn hit level 13. I want to see at least one item upgraded before this game's over. And now, upgrade that set, you know, that's fair. Upgrade that Shadow Flame. Let's get some value on the board here.
If only you could upgrade the HP bars, because poor Naavs got chewed through. A 3-item powered up Cupid with a perfect hex score as well is running rampant. Rabadons plus Shadow Flames plus Luden's Companion is in no way a small thing. Okay, Vigar's now getting caught. That's a turnaround. Wish to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Killa G saying, I got revenge for my poor mid, or maybe not. Team Triton able to get something back with that overextension.
Yeah, they're making this happen, as you said, Orbital, with just one Grievous item. It's just the Thorn Mill. And, the mages may not care about that too much because they don't always need to use their auto attacks on the Ornn. It's all about those long-range crowd control abilities. But somehow they're getting kills on the board. It's definitely a great sight for sore eyes. It makes me hopeful that they maybe have a little bit of sparkle left in their eyes here as we go ahead and get into like the next potential 10 minutes of this game. We got the Baron coming up.
Oh, what a silence. Tamika, what a silence. That was rude.
God.
Another plug-in, though, as I'm Choice trying to get revenge back. Killagy running off the rest of the damage, which leaves the tank all alone. Ari comes in for the absolute slaughter. The dominances of the HP bars are real. It's a triple for Killagy. Killagy, the jungler's looking for more, but Cupid steals it away. Mel is the only one alive as Team Triton only have one available. Another layer plus Chaos Storm is bound to call in the win. It's an ace for Team Cupid as they look for the third dragon.
And they get the Otacon, they get the dragon. The gold value is only going up. The items assembled are definitely skyrocketing. You can see it on the scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen. And with one dragon left to complete Soul, Air Soul, mind you, it's going to be such a powerful asset for them to potentially close out this game because having that much movement speed added on top of the local champions like Vygar, who loves closing the gap with that event. Obviously Cupid with his Vicar trying to chase with his stealth run. It's crazy value. And of course Jarvan as well. Jarvan loves movement speed, so you can just go ahead and capitalize on something. They may not even need those Dragon Ball at this point.
An attempt was made, as we do see not Ops throwing down some damage, but it's just not enough at the end of the day. Killagy waiting around the wings, though, when that's on in. Like Drag ain't really going to find too much more, but close enough as Triton is denied by the Event Horizon once again. I'm Troy, sectioned off from the rest of the squad, and unfortunately, you're just a support. Yet another 3 bound for themselves. Team Cupid looking to end this game.
They can take the bot lane inhibitor here, but it makes me wonder if they can actually maybe close out the game here. We have Zed coming off death cooldown, and we also are coming with 10 seconds, with tank with 20 seconds in tow. Will it be enough to stop this last siege? Looks like they are actually making some progress here.
That's a good catch. Down going the way of Triton. It's not a bad one to have. You're okay at the end, but again, you're losing so much more. At this point, it's a consolation prize. At the end of the day, RX says, I want more than just a consolation. I want the kill. Another double dash in. Steals away that kill, and you're on a killing spree. Says the Croc. You will pay with your life, though, unless the Wish has something else to say about it. No way! You are not staying alive from this one. Brutality from Team Cupid as they keep their top laner alive. The rest of Team Triton have to run for the hills as Vygar is on a mission and a half. Final primordial burst to secure their 9th of the game as Team Cupid is closing out this one at a 2-0's pace.
I really wonder, Orbital, if that was such a deliberative play by saying, hey, Eric, pretend to be by yourself. Just be defenseless and head vulnerable. We'll just sit back and wait for them to act. And that's exactly what happened. I thought Death and Destruction was basically, it was going to be over for Eric. But then, out of the good work there, we get the Soraka with the save and just turning on such a surprising end. And now an ace to close out the game. Meaning that this is going to be victory for Team Cupid and they will be able to advance to the semifinals.
Yes, they will. In a very well done fashion, about 4 minutes faster than game number 1. Team Cupid 2-0 Team Triton to move on to the semifinals. Very well done on there, and I loved every single moment of it. Even if it was very controlled from the start, it was surprising to see it fall in their way. It feels like, especially for Triton, they had a good idea at the beginning of the draft.
You saw the concept there on paper. Like right out of the woodwork, I thought the Mel was such a great pick. But it does like pose the question, could have they maybe held it? Was Team Cupid going to possibly secure Mel themselves? Because you saw how their comp basically adapted to the Mel. Like there was so much crowd control available that unfortunately Mel just doesn't get to interact with. And I do really think, Orbital, that those choices were kind of deliberate. On top of that too, the counter picks were also great too. I mean, Soraka is such a disastrously potent pick against the Ornn because not being able to R2 and bonk that train, it really kills their engaged flat out. So I have to say, it's not just the plays, it's not just the coordination, but it's also the draft process through Team Cupid that just attests to how fearless no pun intended. How actually how versatile they are as a team. They've shown it tournament and tournament. It just remains to be seen who can actually take down this beast of a team, this beast of a composition. That's Team Cubic, ladies and gentlemen.
The fact that they came into this, I believe, as the second seed is scary to
Yeah.
me. Actually, yeah, they came in a second seed. They only lost to a team only forward. So,
Mm.
who knows what exactly is going to happen? And I'm thrilled and worried for what's to come tomorrow. So, Wrist, taking a look at this, I love the fact that you pointed out it's going to be exciting, but that I believe might be the end of it here today. Before we go and end this stream, I do want to make sure that we get all the standings as much as we can get plugged in. I believe there's one more series running, so we are going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll have updated standings, possibly a game number 3, depending on how that series goes, or we will end it here. However, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. We'll be back in just a bit with the finale of Reina's Kingdoms Tournament Day 1. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. We are here and we have some good and bad news. I guess not bad, but bittersweet. Most of our brackets for the quarterfinals have been completed. Risk, you and I just watched as Team Cupid took down Team Triton in dominating fashion, and we're very, very comfortable, to say the least. Of course, other matches I completed across the board as well, so we'll go ahead and take you straight to the bracket to take a look here. At the current moment, Team Evolutions has beaten out Team Urk in the in this quarterfinals match, and then surprisingly enough, Team Fat Pussies, who we saw earlier play, has lost to Team Only 35, who went 0-3 in the group stage. So one of our only upsets of the day.
Definitely quite a tragic fat loss there, if I do say so myself. I'm sorry.
That
you
was
know,
good. That was good.
But yeah, day two is definitely shaping up to be exciting. Obviously we see some returning faces here from previous tournaments, but it's nice, as we said earlier, to see that mixed in with some new faces as well. That's the great thing about these community tournaments, because you do see some fan favorites among the league community, but it's always mixed in with some new faces and always mixed in with people that maybe have not been in the spotlight before. But this is the opportunity, this is the stage for them to go ahead and make a name and a story for themselves. And Reina, time and time again, has given us a wonderful opportunity to go ahead and see some of these players come to life, especially in such a great formatted tournament too. We can see the one tricks do their thing. We can see people bring their champions to life, with these expanded champion pools. It's fearless draft, but it's also the magic that Reina's bringing to the table. It's
Yeah,
such a great match.
it's magic or a nightmare, depending on how you look at it, because it means you have to play against one tricks, which is a whole different story in its own book. Either way, it's been a treat so far here on day number 1. But to those who are tuning in, know that there is a day number 2. We still have the semifinals and the finals tomorrow, which will be played. Not only that, everyone that makes it into day number 2 will be getting paid out. Remember, top 4 get a payout. First place 500, second place 250, third place 150, fourth place 100. There will be a third place match also, I believe, off stream, but I'll try and link any of the players that are streaming that one for you to watch. Either way, we are done here on the day. We'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, which is going to be a treat at the end. Risk, though, please go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you across the socials and across any possible streaming areas.
Yeah, so professional part-time gamer on the weekdays. You guys can catch me at twitch.tv/wrist or wristband on Twitter if you guys want to go ahead and follow me on social media. I'll see you guys tomorrow, though, so don't miss me too much. Don't miss Orbital. Don't miss Reina. Don't miss anybody. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be back before you know it. So good night and sweet dreams, everybody. That's all I got to say.
Yep. Bye bye.